Night fell. At dinner, Li Qiuyue and Yin Yi barely touched their food. Their minds were still stuck on the corpse tide. It was too big, too sudden. Neither of them had really processed it yet. Don't panic, Chu Xiu said calmly, as if he was talking about tomorrow's weather. If it truly becomes impossible to hold, we leave. We go somewhere else. At this table, only Chen Meiyue was an ordinary person. Li Qiuyue and Yin Yi were both awakened. If things really went to hell, running wasn't shameful. It was correct, and it just so happened that this trip had secured Huishan Prison. Compared to Yijiang Garden, the conditions at Huishan Base were harsher, but the security was on another level. If the corpse tide arrived, they could always retreat there. I'm going to Huishan this time. Chu Xiu had just started explaining when, boom, a heavy, muffled blast cut him off. It sounded distant, but the pressure behind it was real. The ground trembled like a short earthquake. 2 or 3 seconds, then it stopped. What was that? Yin Yi and Li Qiuyue stood up at the same time. Pat! The moment they moved, the villa's lights snapped off. Pitch black. But outside the window, the night wasn't dark. Something was lighting up the world. That, Chimewa walked over with them. All three went to the window together. One look, and their bodies went cold. On the horizon, a mushroom cloud was rising slowly, towering into the sky. Mushroom cloud. Bomb! The three spoke almost in unison, voices shaking. It's Silver X City, Chu Xiu said as he stepped to the window, his face heavy. Silver X City was a neighbor of H City, less than 100 kilometers away. Before the apocalypse, it was an hour and a half by highway. Compared to crowded, prosperous H City, Silver X City was an industrial city. And now, it had just been erased. Why would they do that? Li Qiuyue asked, stunned. Are there no survivors left? Chu Xiu kept staring at the distant cloud. Do you remember what I told you? Where zombies and beasts came from. Li Qiuyue swallowed. Space-time cracks. Her eyes widened as the pieces clicked together. Wait, you mean Silver X City also had a crack? And they used a mushroom bomb to try to seal it? Chu Xiu nodded once. That's right. Yin Yi leaned forward anxiously. So did it work? Both girls were desperate to hear good news. But Chu Xiu shook his head. No, they released something worse. The villa was already dark, but after those words, it felt like the darkness got heavier. Even the air went quiet. Chu Xiu could hear Chen Meiyue's breathing speed up. What did they release? Yin Yi asked. Chu Xiu answered with just 2 words. Black Forest. That was all. But the 3 women went stiff, like that name carried weight on its own. And the strange part was the moment they heard it, the same image formed in their minds. A forest with no sky, no wind, branches like claws, and monsters hidden deep in the dark, watching. Yin Yi shivered. That sounds disgusting. Chu Xiu glanced at them. Don't let your imagination run wild. As long as you don't go looking for it, the Black Forest isn't a threat. Trees don't grow legs and walk out. Then he added, almost dryly, if you're going to worry about something, worry about the blackout. He turned away, looking at the dark villa with a frown. If nothing unexpected happened, that blast probably damaged H City's power supply. And power outages weren't a small problem. Modern life runs on electricity. Once the power goes, water supply and gas can follow. Cooking becomes a hassle. Everything drops back into primitive mode. I have a way, Li Qiuyue suddenly said, like she'd found the perfect solution. She hurried to a wall socket and pressed her hand against it. Zzzzzt. Electricity flowed from her body into the outlet. The dining room light flickered on, then another, then more. In seconds, the whole villa lit up again. For a moment, it looked like this house had become the only bright spot in Yijiang Garden, maybe even in all of H City. But Chu Xiu didn't look relieved. He looked tired. Stop. He rubbed his forehead. Are you planning to stand here 24 hours a day as a human generator? And do you think your mental strength is endless? He paused, then couldn't resist a jab. Qiuyue, you're usually smart. Why are you sharing a brain with Yin Yi at times like this? Huh? Yin Yi snapped, offended. What's that supposed to mean? If you want to call someone stupid, just call me stupid. Why drag me into it like this? Li Qiuyue finally realized how ridiculous it was. Her face reddened. She pulled her hand away. The lights went out instantly. Darkness again. Chu Xiu sighed. I remember we brought back candles last time. Find them. We'll manage for tonight. Tomorrow I'll see if I can bring back a few generators. With that, he left the dining room. He planned to take a hot shower today, but with the power out, that idea died immediately. After he left, the three women looked at each other, helpless, and went to dig out candles. Even though Chu Xiu had arranged for the Colossus to guard the community gate, none of them felt fully at ease. In the end, they decided to take turns keeping watch through the night. In the dining room, the three women decided to take turns keeping watch. Li Qiuyue drew the first rest shift. Since she didn't need to stay up, she lit a candle and went upstairs alone. But not long after she reached her room, someone slipped in behind her. Qiuyue, it's me. Li Qiuyue turned, confused. It was Yi. What is it, Yi? Not so loud. With a careful look around, Yi pulled out a tightly wrapped bundle from behind her back. She peeled away the layers, and out popped a jelly-like little creature, bouncy and cute in a strange way. Goo. The moment it was free, it giggled happily, then stretched out a tiny hand toward the two of them like it was inviting them to play. To it, there was no such thing as human or monster. It just wanted company. If anything, it acted like a puppy that hadn't been alive for long. It wagged itself toward anyone it saw, warm and needy. Why did you bring Tickle here? Chu Xiu said it can't control its ability. He said it's dangerous. Unlike Yi, who still dared to argue with Chu Xiu sometimes, Li Qiuyue treated Chu Xiu's words like rules. If he said it was dangerous, she wouldn't touch it. Yi scratched her cheek, awkward. Don't worry. I didn't bring it to mess around. You want to know what actually happened last night, right? She took a breath, clearly working up courage. Qiuyue, I'm going to tell you something. Don't get mad. It's like this. It's okay, Yi. Li Qiuyue cut her off gently. I already know. Yi froze. Huh? You know, Li Qiuyue wasn't stupid. She just hadn't connected it immediately. Once Chu Xiu and Yi disappeared together, the answer wasn't hard to guess. It's fine, Li Qiuyue said, forcing a smile. Chu Xiu and I, it's nothing. You don't need to comfort me. But her voice trembled at the end. Anyone could hear it. I'm not here to comfort you. Yi muttered, flustered. I don't know how to say it properly. She gave up on words. Forget it. I'll show you. Before Li Qiuyue could react, Yi gently placed Tickle on Li Qiuyue's hand. What are you? Li Qiuyue's words stopped mid-sentence. Goo. Tickle was thrilled. It clung to her hand like it had found a new toy, and in the next instant it began doing what it did best. It started drinking her negative emotions. Fear, unease, doubt, that tight knot of what if I'm not enough? All of it. To Tickle, it was just food, and it ate happily. In only a few moments, Li Qiuyue's whole presence changed. Her eyes sharpened. Her shoulders relaxed. The trembling vanished. She looked like a different person. I get it now, Yi. It's the apocalypse anyway. Why am I hesitating so much? Worst case, we do it together. There was no fear left. No self-doubt. Just a clean, straight decision. Yi stared, stunned for a second, and then her face lit up. Thank you, Yi, Li Qiuyue said firmly. I'm going right now. And even if you're ahead of me, I'm not letting Chan Mei Wei get ahead of me too. She flicked her wrist and tossed Tickle away like she'd tossed away the weakness with it. Then she charged out, headed straight upstairs, not even looking back. Yi and Tickle were left behind, both frozen in place. A few seconds later, bang! A familiar, violent kick sounded upstairs. That poor door still hadn't been repaired, and now it was getting abused again. Yi stared down at Tickle crawling on the floor. Wait, don't tell me. Was I kicking doors like that last night too? Goo. Tickle, of course, had no idea what she was saying. It just saw Yi looking at it and immediately stretched out its little hand, giggling like it wanted a hug. Yi scooped it up, wrapped it in her clothes like she was smuggling contraband, and slipped out. Jelly, you really did me a huge favor. The rest of the night passed quietly. Only this time, the familiar scene played out with a different person. At the breakfast table the next morning, The one keeping her head down wasn't Yi. It was Li Qiuyue. Chu Xiu stared at them like he couldn't make sense of the world anymore. What's wrong with you two? Did you both eat leopard gall or something? You're not afraid of anything now. The two girls exchanged looks, and in the end, under Chu Xiu's questioning, they confessed. Jelly did it. They told him everything. Chu Xiu listened, mouth half open, then went completely silent. After a long pause, he nodded slowly. All right, you two are something else. He even gave them a thumbs up, like he didn't know whether to be impressed or exhausted. In the future, countless people would try to explore Tickle's ability in different ways. But this use, almost nobody would even think of it. To be fair, it really had helped him. Normal people second-guess themselves. Even if they love someone, there's always doubt mixed in. Tickle didn't create love. It just stripped away the fear and hesitation, leaving only what they truly felt. And because of that, the loyalty of both girls hit the ceiling overnight. On Chu Xiu's panel, a new section had appeared. Name, Chu Xiu. Strength, 151. Agility, 32. Constitution, 79. Energy, 186. Talents, Magnetic Field Control LV3, Lightning Control LV3, Giant Strength LV3, Full, Basic Flash LV3, Full. Slots used, 4/5. Subordinates, E Loyalty 100, Li Qiuyue, Loyalty 100. EXP, 1911. Li Qiuyue's name was now officially under his subordinates, which meant from now on, when she killed zombies or beasts, Chu Xiu would gain experience too. But today, Li Qiuyue wouldn't be joining any action. Right now, she could barely walk straight. Forget searching for generators. She was struggling just to sit down without wincing.
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support, we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
After breakfast, Chu Xiu left the villa with Yi. Because Li Qiuyue was injured, she could only stay at home. As for Chen Meiyue, she wasn't a field worker, she was a cook, and she only needed to cook delicious food. Strictly speaking, there are 2 tasks today. One is looking for a diesel generator, and the other is looking for a tanker to load oil. 35. Chu Xiu intends to find a tanker truck, preferably 2, one for gasoline and one for diesel. Solve the fuel problem in one go. It saves you having to find a place to refuel at every turn. So, are we going to split up? After listening to Chu Xiu's arrangement, Yi asked, Need not. Come one by one. There is plenty of time. Chu Xiu shook his head. Sit in the Doomsday Chariot modified earlier, start the vehicle, and carry Yi out. When you arrive near the gate of the community, Chu Xiu shouted, Steel Man. The voice just fell. In the security room next to him, the heavy footsteps of the Steel Man were immediately heard. Chu Xiu knew. The guy stayed in the security room all night. Only when a few zombies approached the community did they go out and solve it. Why is it so clear? It was because the whole body was covered with metal, and every move could not escape Chu Xiu's magnetic field induction. Boss, are you looking for me? The Steel Man ran to the Doomsday Chariot in one breath. The 2-meter-tall body made the Steel Man's head exactly the same height as the window of the Doomsday Chariot. It is conceivable how high the sight is for the modified Doomsday Chariot. Get in the car. 99. Yes. Chu Xiu finished. Without any hesitation, the Steel Man directly opened the cargo door of the Doomsday Chariot. Due to the narrow space, the Steel Man could only crawl into the cargo hold with his body curled up. After leaving the area, Chu Xiu took out his mobile phone while driving. Open the previously downloaded offline map. Let's go to the mine generator first, and see if we can meet the fuel tanker on the road. With the power outage, the network is also interrupted, of course. Navigation or something, since yesterday, is a thing of the past. If we were looking for a mine machine, are we going to the fresh produce supermarket? Don't go. Facing Yi's inquiry, Chu Xiu shook his head. Although Ini is right, places such as fresh food supermarkets and cold drink shops may be equipped with diesel generators, but only possible. Whether you can find it or not depends on luck. Moreover, even if there are generators in these places, the power is generally not very large. Can only meet the most basic power supply. Then where do we go to find the generator? Ini was puzzled. In her life experience, this is already the most likely place to find a generator. But soon, Chu Xiu gave her the answer. Hospital. The easiest way to find a high-power generator 100% is to go to the hospital, especially large hospitals. All are equipped with superpower mine generators, and one group can supply power for the entire building. Just bring back a group. It can completely solve the power supply problem of Garden. Oops, I'm so stupid. How can I forget the hospital? The hospital must be equipped with a generator. In patted her little head, a little annoyed why she didn't think of it sooner. You're not stupid for a day or two. Chu Xiu sneered. Done. He stepped on the accelerator and drove towards a location on the map. The distance is not far. Chu Xiu drove the Doomsday Chariot and drove on the dilapidated road for a short time. Then I saw the hospital building not far away. Not only that, Chu Xiu was still at the intersection ahead and saw a fuel tanker. It's just that the tanker has rolled over. There are also obvious impact marks on the front of the car. Chu Xiu deduced that when the Doomsday happened, the tanker failed to avoid it in time, collided with other vehicles, and then rolled over. Fortunately, the tank body of the tanker was intact, and there was no trace of fuel leakage. Go, turn that car over. Chu Xiu drove the car near the oil tanker and said to Ini, No problem, but you have to give me a hand with the magnetic field. Ini knew, with his own strength, he will definitely not be able to turn this big guy over. Done. He got out of the car and walked to the vicinity of the fuel tanker. She didn't rush to lift the car, but got into the cab first and pulled out a booklet. Chu Xiu. This car is transported in separate warehouses, both diesel and gasoline. It says 92 gasoline 2.2 tons, 95 gasoline 3.5 tons, 0 hashtag diesel 3.1 tons. In shouted while flipping through the booklet. Looks like there's no need to find a second tanker. Hearing Ini's report, Chu Xiu's mouth showed a smile. The total capacity of this tanker is about 10 tons, although not fully loaded. But the various models of gasoline and diesel add up to almost 9 tons. Fully meet Chu Xiu's needs. Turn it over, Chu Xiu said. The magnetic field energy was released and started towing the overturned oil tanker. In threw away the booklet, squatted down halfway, grabbed the side of the vehicle with both hands, and lifted it up. With the cooperation of the two, the behemoth with a total weight of more than 10 tons slowly turned over. With a thud, the wheel hit the ground. The impact of the sudden downward pressure almost burst several tires of the vehicle. See if the vehicle can still start. 35. In fact, without Chu Xiu's orders, Ini could not wait to get into the cab. Luck seems to be really good today. As soon as Ini got in the car, she didn't have to look for it. The key was inserted in the keyhole. One twist. The vehicle started successfully. It's just that there are several red warning symbols on the dashboard. It seems that Lee's crashed the front of the car, something is damaged, maybe the water tank or something. But it doesn't affect driving. No problem, it can be started. Chu Xiu. Year. Can you let me drive back later? A smile appeared on Ini's face. A little impatient. Since returning from the supermarket collection last time, whenever Ini is free, she is in the community looking for a car to learn to drive in the open space. Now she has mastered basic driving skills. Fine. When the generator is found, the tanker will be handed over to you. Chu Xiu didn't attack Ini's enthusiasm either. Moreover, he could not drive away 2 cars at the same time. As for the Steelers, its size, I am afraid that even the cab cannot sit in. Go to the hospital first. Chu Xiu finished. Wait for Ini to get in the car. He drove the Doomsday Chariot and continued to drive to the hospital not far away. Soon, Chu Xiu came to the front of the hospital. After cleaning up a group of surrounded zombies, Chu Xiu parked the car in the open space in front of the hospital. Prepare to walk into the hospital. The reason why I didn't drive in was because the hospital was full of abandoned cars. Many were burnt to charred remains. Apparently, before the doomsday, a lot of people gathered in this hospital. Chu Xiu, are we really going in? Why do I feel a little weird here? Innie got out of the car, looked at the hospital building not far away, and suddenly felt a chill. The hospital building appears to be on fire after the apocalypse. From the east side to the north side of the building's outer walls, starting from the fourth floor, there are obvious traces of fire. The windows are dark, and the rooms inside are not burnt out. Although the fire was already out. But there was still a pungent, burnt smell in the air, like the smell of burnt plastic and like the smell of charred barbecue. It's kind of weird. Chu Xiu nodded. What? You feel a little chill too? In-E was stunned for a moment, then looked back at Chu Xiu. The chill. Number 35. I mean, there are a little less zombies here. 500 Chu Xiu shook his head and then pointed to a few scattered zombies on the square at the main entrance of the hospital. These zombies roam among abandoned vehicles. A few were still stuck in the middle of the vehicle, looked left and right, but couldn't get out. There are so many vehicles, but there are only so many zombies. It's kind of unreasonable, Chu Xiu said solemnly. Dong dong dong. At this time, the steel man also got out of the rear of the doomsday chariot. The sound of its heavy footsteps immediately attracted the attention of the few zombies. Roar! Ho ho! The zombies roared and rushed in the direction of Chu Xiu. Even the zombies that were originally stuck jumped over the vehicle and rushed towards Chu Xiu and the others. Seeing this, Chu Xiu, magnetic field energy is released. However, just when Chu Xiu was ready to deal with these zombies, roar! An even more deafening roar suddenly came from the hospital building. Accompanied by a roar, a strange-looking creature rushed out. The monster has a human body, but 4 eyes. There are also 4 arms. Deb, 2 strong arms are full of muscles, and the other 2 are slender arms with sharp claws. What's more terrifying is that there's a pair of huge bat wings behind the monster. Various limbs. It doesn't fit at all with the monster's human body. It's like being forcibly grafted on. What the hell is this? 33. Even the well-informed Chu Xiu was confused by this monster. Really want to talk. Chu Xiu actually knew this monster. I just don't know enough. The body of a monster is a human or a zombie. Those 2 arms with sharp claws, a bit like the claws of the wailing banshee. As for the wings on the back, they are obviously the flesh wings of the winged demon. The other Chu Xiu didn't recognize them. No accident, they should also be the limbs of other zombies or beasts. Roar! The monster came out of the building, but they did not attack Chu Xiu and others. Instead, it rushed towards the zombies. Although the limbs of the monster are not coordinated, the speed is extremely fast. When running, using both hands and feet, like a bull, it directly hit a zombie. Then, stretch out its claws and chop off the head of another zombie. Without waiting for the other zombies to react, the monster jumped up and the huge fleshy wings behind it suddenly unfolded, fanning and soaring into the air. With the high mobility of diving, he killed several other zombies in a row. After doing all this, the monster still did not attack Chu Xiu and his party. It obviously has 4 eyes, but it seems that it can't see Chu Xiu and others. After killing all the zombies, he squatted directly on the ground, tore the corpse of the zombie, and feasted on it. E35. Can't you see us? Innie was holding the long mace, feeling a little overwhelmed. The creatures in front of them are really weird. Although it is a monster, it does not attack humans but kills zombies. Steel Man 99. Kill it. Chu Xiu thought for a while, and then ordered. Whatever the monster is, it is blocking their only way to enter the hospital. No one can guarantee that it will not violently injure people when it is waiting for others to approach. Yes. The Stealer said nothing. Taking a step, he walked towards the monster. Encountered an abandoned vehicle blocking the road. Lift your foot and step on it, and the roof of the car collapses directly. Roar! Sure enough, Chu Xiu did not expect. When the Steel Man approached the monster within 5 meters, the monster who had bowed his head and feasted suddenly roared. Throw away the half-eaten zombie corpse. Go straight to the Steelers' base. The sharp claws belonging to the wailing banshee grabbed the steel man's neck, accompanied by the sound of metal friction. There were a few more scratches on the steel man's neck immediately. The Steelers are not showing weakness either. Punch back in the past. Boom! The monster was directly hammered away. The uncoordinated body rolled twice on the ground and quickly stood up again, spread its wings and fly into the air. Seeing this, the steel man grabbed a piece of scrap iron next to him and turned his body around. Like throwing a discus, the monster that just flew into the sky was smashed down again. Boom! The monster slammed into the top of an abandoned car. The vehicle was directly smashed. The monster also seemed to be seriously injured and turned over twice before successfully turning over and standing up. Stop! The Steelers are ready to pursue. Chu Xiu stopped it aloud. Let me come. Done. The abandoned vehicle under the monster's body suddenly fell apart. The metal wreckage of the car wrapped around the monster like a boa constrictor, and then thorns grew. Dive into the monster. Then, the thorns turned into hooks, and under the action of the magnetic field, they yanked outwards. Snapped. The monster exploded directly. Flesh and blood. But the system does not have any prompts. At this time, a few drops of black liquid caught Chu Xiu's attention in the pile of meat pieces of the monster. Shards of the receiver. Chu Xiu frowned, and when he raised his hand, there was a flash of lightning, evaporating the black water. Still no prompt. See. Chu Xiu continued to increase the current. Burn all the scattered pieces of meat into charred pieces. Can beep. Still no sound. As if Chu Xiu did not kill monsters. Could it be that? Suddenly, Chu Xiu had a bold guess. This thing is man. Chu Xiu, what kind of monster was that just now? Chu Xiu just came over. In-E asked with a puzzled look. Not sure. I can only be sure now that this thing is different from anything we usually encounter. Chu Xiu shook his head, looking up at the half-burned hospital building. His eyes became serious. Be careful later. I feel like there's more than one thing. Done. Chu Xiu entered the hospital building first. As soon as you enter, it is the outpatient hall. There are no zombies and no monsters in it. There are only bloodstains that have dried up all over the ground, and the footprints of people who hastily stepped on them. The motor room should be in the basement. There is a pharmacy here. We'll take the usual medicine away. 99. Chu Xiu noticed that on the left side of the hall was the outpatient pharmacy. The medicines are neatly arranged inside, apparently not cared for by the survivors. Why don't I go to collect medicine now, and you go to the generator? 359. In-E suggested. Look for the mine generator first. 99. Don't worry about medicine, and this thing won't run on long legs. Chu Xiu shook his head. Things always have to be prioritized. Follow the hallway to find the stairs leading to the basement. There used to be a locked door, but before Chu Xiu and others arrived, the door was violently knocked open by something. Only one door frame remains, and dark stairs leading to the basement. Chu Xiu, shall we find a flashlight before going down? Looking at the dark stairs, In-E hesitated. Number 35. Chu Xiu shook his head, spread out his hands, and gathered several thunder lights in his palm. Under the light of lightning, went into the stairs. Seeing this, In-E had to bite the bullet and follow. The Steelers walked silently at the back. Sigh. It's a little cold down there. As soon as she entered the basement, In-E hugged her arms and felt a slight chill. Where is this hospital? In-E asked. The mortuary, the medical record room, the equipment room. All right. 35. Some hospitals also put canteens in the basement. 99. Chu Xiu walked in front and said with a flat face. But In-E only heard the first 3 words. He couldn't help shivering. Canteen and morgue together? In-E trembled. That's not so. Normally, the 2 places do not share a corridor. 35. Chu Xiu said lightly. Then, suddenly stopped in front of a door. I found it, the motor room. Chu Xiu pushed open the door. Several huge diesel generators come into view. Different from the common mine generators on the market, the generators in front of them are all behemoths that are 3.3 meters long, 1.8 meters high, and 1.8 meters wide. Each weighs 1.88 tons. You carry these things into the car. Found the mine bomber. Chu Xiu turned around and handed over the hard work of carrying to the steel man. Yes. The stealer said nothing. Pick up a generator set and walk outside. Then I'll go get the medicine. 55. Ini asked. Chu Xiu nodded. From entering the hospital to now, they have not seen a single monster, not even a zombie. Even the gloomy basement is not in the slightest danger, except for the appearance that looks a bit oozing. In this hospital, there seems to be no danger at all. You're collecting medicines here. I'll go upstairs to see. Go back to the first floor lobby. In-E entered the pharmacy to collect medicines, while Chu Xiu continued to explore up the stairs. Come to the second floor. The number on the door says Pediatrics and ENT. But at first glance, there was nothing in the corridor, only a few crooked benches. Same as first floor and basement. There's still no zombies or monsters on the second floor of the hospital. It's just that there are more bloodstains in the corridor, and even the walls have some dried, bloody handprints. As if something hurried past. I accidentally left a bloody handprint on it. Looks like there's something in there. Chu Xiu narrowed his eyes. Continue up to the third floor. This floor is the operating room, and there are still no zombies or monsters. But there was more blood on the floor. Almost dyed the floor red. Chu Xiu continued upwards. As soon as I entered the fourth floor, a smell of burning objects hit my face. Still no danger. The blood on the walls and floor was gone, replaced by the charred blackness of the fire. The entire hallway, plus the rooms on either side. It's pitch black inside and out. Seeking flowers. If it weren't for some sunlight coming in from the window, it would be as dark as night here. Chu Xiu stepped into the corridor, and the burned floor creaked. In a rich, burnt flavor. There is still a bloody smell that is hard to hide. Is blood? Chu Xiu took out a coin and scratched the coke on the wall. Coke was scraped away. What was revealed was still a dazzling red blood stain. He. Just as Chu Xiu was observing the wall, at the end of the corridor, a girl's figure flashed by, accompanied by a string of silver, bell-like laughter. A monster? Chu Xiu hesitated, still followed. Come to the end of the corridor, turn left, and enter another corridor. He. The figure of the girl appeared again, still at the end of the corridor. Just a flash. Disappeared again. It seemed that he was deliberately attracting Chu Xiu to follow him. I'd like to see what you are. Chu Xiu made a move, and countless metals flew over from the charcoal around him. Door bolts, hinges, keys, scalpels. Various metals flew over, surrounded by Chu Xiu. After doing all this, Chu Xiu was about to catch up with the figure. Sudden roar. The familiar roar sounded again. A monster that looked similar to the entrance of the hospital roared, and suddenly swooped over from outside the hospital. Smashed open the framed window, in the way of Chu Xiu's progress. Sure enough, Chu Xiu's eyes turned cold. Without the slightest hesitation, the metal surrounding him immediately transformed into steel needles. Shoot at the monster. Roar. The monster roared and rushed towards Chu Xiu, but its body is too bloated to perform in the hospital corridors. Just for a moment, it was beaten into a sieve by a steel needle controlled by Chu Xiu. After these steel needles enter the monster's body, they will stir frantically and destroy the body structure. Boom! The monster rushed forward a few steps. Then he collapsed at Chu Xiu's feet. Like last time, the system's beep still didn't sound. Manipulated? Don't want it to follow? 35. Chu Xiu looked at the fallen monster corpse, and then looked at the window that was smashed by the monster. There was a mountain of guesswork in my mind. Despite guessing that someone was holding him back, Chu Xiu still didn't give up the investigation. After finishing the monster that rushed out, resolutely stepped into the new corridor. At the end of the hallway is an intact wooden door, which is out of tune with the charred surroundings. Open the door. A ring-shaped room appeared in front of Chu Xiu. Unlike the corridor outside, there are no traces of fire here. Floors are intact, clean and free of blood. Even though the power went out, the fluorescent lamps above were still on. There is nothing in the room, not even a window, completely closed. But on the wall, there are 9 identical wooden doors, one of which Chu Xiu entered just now. Behind every door is a corridor. It's not so much a room here. 500 is rather a transit room connecting 9 corridors. It's impossible to have a structure like this in a hospital. Is it a fantasy? Chu Xiu frowned, just pushed open a door and walked in. Entering is a corridor. All the way to the end, it is a wooden door. Push away. Back in a ring room. Chu Xiu realized that something was wrong and turned back and pushed open the door that he had entered in the first place. The hallway is not the same as when it came. The original way out has disappeared. In its place is a wooden door. Push away. Back in the ring room. Ghost hitting the wall. Is it really a fantasy? Chu Xiu stopped. There are many monsters that can create hallucinations, but those who can deceive magnetic field induction. Just as Chu Xiu observes, a reflection of broken glass on the ground caught his attention. I picked it up and saw that it was not glass, but a broken mirror. Chu Xiu looked around, found many of the same fragments. Next to each door, they're the same mirror fragments. Put the mirrors together? Chu Xiu thought for a while. Then I gathered all the mirror fragments and tried to put them together. Sure enough, a complete circular women's makeup mirror appeared in front of Chu Xiu's eyes. What? Just the moment the mirror is finished, a woman's arm with scary nails suddenly sticks out from the mirror. Chu Xiu, who had been prepared for a long time, tilted his head and avoided the attack of the sharp claws. Then he reached out without hesitation. Like iron pliers, firmly grasped the arm stretched out in the mirror. UTM give labor and capital out. Chu Xiu grabbed the hand in the mirror and yanked it back. Accompanied by a terrifying scream. Half of the objects in the mirror were dragged out of the country by Chu Xiu. That's a woman with disheveled hair, wearing a white dress, pale skin. There's a deadly aura all over me. Daytime demon? The moment he saw what was in the mirror, Chu Xiu broke out in a cold sweat. Class B monster, daytime ghosts, a terrifying being that can destroy a sanctuary for mankind with its own power. Wait, but soon, Chu Xiu realized something was wrong. If it's a daytime ghost, can you pull her out? Shouldn't he have died sooner? Grass. After a long time, you're a night demon. 39. Chu Xiu reacted. He pulled the monster out of the mirror. Appearing in front of Chu Xiu was a woman with disheveled hair, in a white dress, and her feet did not touch the ground. The rags of the skirt are windless and automatic. Under the black hair that covered the face, there were a pair of blood-red eyeballs. Mouth full of sharp teeth, as sharp as knives. The whole look looks like the life-threatening female ghost in the ghost story. She also looked a bit like Sadako. But it hasn't waited for the Sadako to attack Chu Xiu. She was screamed by the fluorescent lamps above her head. Shrill screams, as harsh as a fingernail scratching glass. Night Ghost. Although the name and the daytime demon spirit differ only by one word, their strength is vastly different. Night demons are only sea-level monsters. Moreover, compared to the daytime demon spirits, which have almost no weaknesses, the nighttime demon spirits have a fatal weakness. Afraid of fire, afraid of light, afraid of all glowing objects. Under the illumination of the lights, the demon spirit at night seemed to suffer great pain, and white smoke rose from its body. Immediately after, the demon spirits rioted at night. Want to run? Chu Xiu saw that she wanted to go back to the mirror again. Immediately blocked in front of her. 66-35. The night demon raised his head. His red eyes under his hair stared at Chu Xiu. There is endless resentment in his eyes. Just when Chu Xiu thought this guy was going to attack him, the body of the demon spirit at night suddenly became virtual, becomes translucent, like a gust of wind. It passed through Chu Xiu's body in an instant, and then plunged into the mirror. Disappear. Grass. Still ran away. Chu Xiu cursed secretly. Pick up the mirror. I don't know if it's because of fear or what's going on. This time, the night demons didn't make any surprise attacks. Through the mirror, Chu Xiu saw the scene behind the room. Wait, did this door exist just now? At this time, Chu Xiu discovered that there was an extra wooden door in the mirror. 10th door. Looking back, there was nothing. There's still only 9 doors in the ring room. Looking at the mirror again, The extra door was still there, in the middle of the second door and the third door. Inside the 4.1-inch mirror is the middle of the second and third doors. 99. That's according to the mirroring principle. Why should check? It should be in the middle of the 7 or 8 doors. Chu Xiu put down the mirror. Turning around and walking to the 7th door, he reached out and touched the wall beside him. Really, at the moment of touch, a door that did not exist before slowly emerged. Unlike other doors, the door was pitch black, like the traces of the fire outside. Boom! Just when Chu Xiu was about to push the door and go in, a door behind him was suddenly pushed open. Can't go in. An emotionless female voice appeared behind Chu Xiu. The voice is indifferent like a robot. See? Hear the sound. Chu Xiu turned around. In front of him was a young woman, or a girl, in a white coat. The appearance is even more amazing than Yi and Li Qiuyue combined, but just stunning. As long as you take one more look, you will find that a woman's eyes are always like a pool of stagnant water. Not a single splash. Like an emotionless humanoid machine. No matter how amazing the appearance is, in this absolutely dead eyes, it will become far-reaching and unscrupulous. Bai Xiao. Looking at the woman in front of him, Chu Xiu called out her name in shock. Finally, the woman's eyelids lifted slightly, but the expression still did not change at all. You know me? Although inquiries. But there was no doubt in Bai Xiao's eyes. To be precise, nothing could cause her mood swings. Name, Bai Xiao. Gender, female. Talent, high-speed thinking LV3, absolutely rational. The side effects of this ability are in parentheses. Is this a talent? Isn't it a curse? 23. Seeing Bai Xiao's attributes, Chu Xiu couldn't help but let out a question. The woman in front of him is no stranger to him, even very familiar. Bai Xiao, the hope for the future of mankind, or rather, the hope for the future of ordinary people. Different from those awakened ones with powerful abilities. Bai Xiao had almost no fighting power, but her existence has allowed countless ordinary people without abilities to survive in the cruel apocalypse. Because she is a scientist. In the previous life, Chu Xiu became a super soldier by taking the genetic medicine developed by Bai Xiao, and similar inventions. Bai Xiao has many, many more. In this increasingly weird world, the woman in front of her has been using science to fight against those terrifying things that surpass human cognition. But as a price, Bai Xiao lost all the emotions that belong to human beings. Pleasure and pain are forever lost. Like an emotionless machine, a walking supercomputer. Why don't you let me in? Chu Xiu took a deep breath and temporarily put aside the past memories. Asked, if you die, humanity will lose a powerful magnetic field psychic. She's dead, and I'm going to lose my asylum. Facing Chu Xiu's question, Bai Xiao replied. The sound is as emotionless as ever. But Chu Xiu was used to it. Losing asylum? Can this thing still protect you? 35. Chu Xiu asked. 35. Bai Xiao nodded. I've mastered her rules, and she can't hurt me. But her existence will make many beasts dare not approach. She's dead. I'll be in trouble. Bai Xiao explained calmly. He didn't feel bored at all because of Chu Xiu's constant inquiries. In fact, she doesn't even have the feeling of being bored. You created those monsters outside. Chu Xiu was naturally referring to the monster with various limbs spliced together. Failed model. It's not yet able to accurately receive instructions from humans. Perhaps because its body is a zombie with damaged brain tissue. 35. If you can find me a zombie with an intact brain, maybe the experiment will be successful. Bai Xiao replied. By the way, I also made a request to Chu Xiu. 66. Chu Xiu was a little speechless after hearing this, but he didn't find it strange at all, because this is indeed what Bai Xiao can do. Don't worry about the experiment. When I kill this night demon, you can have as many zombies as you want. Chu Xiu said. Are you still going to kill her? Why? Does this do you any good? Bai Xiao looked at Chu Xiu, although questionable, but there was no trace of emotion or doubt in her beautiful face. If there is no benefit, then I will stop you, because it hurts my interests, Bai Xiao said calmly. At first glance, it sounded like a threat, but Chu Xiu knew that Bai Xiao's thinking was like this, She just wanted to judge the pros and cons of both. It's good. Makes me stronger. 5. Chu Xiu said truthfully. Although there is no mention of experience or the like, this reason should be enough to deal with by Xiao. Good. 99. Then I will help you. Really? After Chu Xiu finished explaining the reason, Bai Xiao chose to help Chu Xiu without any hesitation. The reason is simple. In her opinion, making a magnetic field controller stronger is obviously more important than her own temporary safety. This is Bai Xiao's logic. Everything has pros and cons. As long as the human species can continue, anything can be chosen, even for her personal interests or even her life. If you just went in directly, you're more likely to die than she is. 35. Bai Xiao walked to the invisible door that Chu Xiu faced just now. So at the same time, behind the door is her world. There, she can play to her full strength. And your magnetic field ability will be severely suppressed at 500. 39. Bai Xiao said quietly, although I don't know how she did it. But obviously, she saw the picture of Chu Xiu fighting the monster. So I know that Chu Xiu has the magnetic field ability. In terms of data, how many times would it be? Chu Xiu asked. Data? There is no way to accurately calculate battles with data. There is so much uncertainty. Also, I have no specific knowledge of you nor her strength. 39. Bai Xiao looked back at Chu Xiu, as if to say, why are you asking such a stupid question? But this is just Chu Xiu's illusion, because Bai Xiao's beautiful eyes are still incomparably clean. No emotion at all. Ziz, what if I told you that I had more than one power? Chu Xiu thought for a moment. Reaching out, several lightning bolts crossed and jumped at the fingertips. Does magnetism generate electricity? 99. Then she's more likely to die. Bai Xiao remained expressionless. Done. Bai Xiao was the first to open the invisible door. When she walked in the door, Chu Xiu noticed that there seemed to be something in the pocket around her waist. Bulky. Enter the hidden door. There's still a corridor inside. It's just that unlike the other corridors that are led by a few doors, this one is very clean. The floor is as clean as a mirror. The overhead fluorescent lamps also provide comfortable lighting. Isn't this guy afraid of light? Why are there still lights here? Chu Xiu frowned. The lights are fake. This is her turf, or the world. Bai Xiao said quietly. Then walk in front of Chu Xiu, as always. No fear at all. You must know that she is just an existence without the slightest combat power, not to mention the night demon. Any ordinary zombie can kill her. Bai Xiao, you should walk behind me. Chu Xiu couldn't help but suggest. The back is more dangerous. 35. She likes to sneak in from behind. Bai Xiao did not reply. 6,699. Chu Xiu stopped talking. After a long time, it was still wishful thinking. Walking along the corridor to the end, this time, the end of the corridor is finally no longer a wooden door. Instead, they return to the 4th floor of the hospital. But the problem is, the 4th floor of the normal hospital has been destroyed by fire. However, what appears in front of Chu Xiu now is the 4th floor of the hospital before the fire. There are no black burn marks. At a glance, it is clean and tidy, and the floor can reflect the reflection of people. Not only that, Chu Xiu came to the hospital during the day, but now, it is night outside the window. Even the clock hanging above the corridor also shows the words 2154. It was late at night. The blood pressure was measured in 64 beds. Have you eaten anything tonight? At this moment, in a ward not far from Chu Xiu, the voice of a nurse suddenly came. Then came the patient's voice. No, Miss Nurse, when I turned over just now, the wound was a little painful. Is it okay? Dull pain is normal. If it hurts badly, you ring the bell beside the bed. Inside the ward. Inside came the daily conversation between nurses and patients. It was as if the hospital was still functioning normally. The end did not happen the same. Anyone? Chu Xiu manipulated the magnetic field and pushed the door open, only to see that there was no one inside. It was as if what I heard just now were hallucinations. There were no nurses or patients in the ward, but there were traces of someone sleeping on the bedding on the bed, and there was a steaming water cup beside it. Everything proved that it was someone just now. You should follow me. At this time, Bai Xiao, who was walking in front, found that Chu Xiu had entered the ward next to him. Had to turn around and follow. Just when the two were in the ward at the same time. Outside the corridor, the nurse's footsteps could be heard, and the sound of objects colliding in the treatment tray held by the nurse. "Little Lee, are you on duty tonight?" "Well, Aunt Wong, it's already this time. You haven't gotten off work yet?" 35. "Hi. Cleaning is a little slow." Soon, the conversation between the nurse and the sweeping aunt came again from the corridor. The weird thing is, when Chu Xiu and Bai Xiao were in the corridor, there would be a sound in the ward. And when the two were in the ward, the voice came from the corridor. "I'll open the door and go out now. Is there no one outside?" Chu Xiu figured out a little pattern. So asked, the sound is fake. She's confusing you. Every time you go in and out of the ward, you randomly change your position in this space. If you forget the way back. 35. We'll be stuck here and never get out. 99. Bai Xiao explained quietly. That's one of the reasons why she chose to go ahead. Only by minimizing the number of times entering and leaving the ward can we avoid getting lost in this space. We entered from wards 64 to 68 just now. We should be out of wards 12 to 16, or wards 24 to 28 later. Bai Xiao said again, "Isn't it a random change of position?" Chu Xiu frowned. "It's random. 99. But there are rules. There are only 1,340 kinds of permutations and combinations. Just write them down." Bai Xiao finished. He stretched out his slender hand and pushed open the door. Chu Xiu also followed out of the ward, and as expected, the voices in the corridor disappeared as soon as he came out. The hallway was still empty. Then, there were voices coming from the surrounding wards. Chu Xiu looked back and saw the ward he had just come out of. Really? The sign above says bed size 12 to 16. 6,695. LV3's high-speed thinking is really amazing. At this moment, Chu Xiu had to admire Bai Zhao's brain. That being said, Chu Xiu has no intention of copying, because absolute sanity is too painful. Don't say anything else. Bai Xiao can't even taste the deliciousness of the food. It's not that she doesn't have a sense of taste, it's that she doesn't find food good or bad. She is no different from a machine. Will the machine find gasoline tasty or unpalatable? What should we do now? Wandering around here all the time? Chu Xiu frowned. Compared with Bai Zhao's style of acting according to plan every step of the way, he prefers to be direct and violent. What changes location? Was lost without finding a way back. From Chu Xiu's point of view, as long as the night demon spirit is slaughtered, he will not be able to get out. Are you trying to break her game? Okay. 99. Follow me. Bai Xiao said something inexplicable, then walked straight to the end of the corridor. Game rules. Chu Xiu followed and asked as he walked. It's like a game. Here, you just follow the rules, win, and you can go. That's how I left the last few times. Bai Xiao said while walking. Done. The two have come to the end of the corridor, next to the bathroom. Then, Bai Xiao turned around and walked into the women's toilet. Chu Xiu did not hesitate and immediately followed. Break the mirror and she comes out. 35. Entering the women's toilet, Bai Xiao pointed at the mirror above the sink and said calmly, "Bang." Chu Xiu didn't hesitate at all. He stepped forward directly and punched the mirror with one punch. Oh! The shrill screams seemed to come from the land of Jiuyo. Immediately after, every piece of the shattered mirror emits black gas. The black qi gathered together and finally formed the body of the night demon spirit. Different from what I saw before, the night demon spirit at this time was 2 meters tall. Of course, half of her height was due to her long skirt. But anyway, the present night demons are far stronger than when Chu Xiu saw them just now. Oh! The night demon appeared. The red eyes immediately locked on Chu Xiu. She remembered the guy who dragged himself out of the mirror. Oh, it's kind of vengeful. Chu Xiu snorted coldly. A few coins in the pocket immediately transformed into several flying knives and flew towards the night demon spirit. Knife cuts through the air, instantly penetrated the body of the night demon. No harm was done to it. At the moment when the flying knife passed through, the night demon seemed to have no entity in an instant. No matter how Ren Fade Out penetrates, it cannot cause any damage to it. Like a real ghost. This seems to anger the night demon. Hearing a shrill howl, the night demon raised a hand, and under the sleeve of the skirt was a sharp claw glowing with cold light. Swish! The claws fell. Chu Xiu's figure instantly flashed to a meter away. Exactly the primary flicker that was copied earlier. At night, the demon's spirit lost its paw. He seemed to be stunned for a second. At this time, swish! Chu Xiu is flashing again. Instantly appeared behind the night demon's spirit. This time, instead of using magnetic field energy, I clenched my fist and threw a punch with pure brute force. 15 times the terrifying power of ordinary people is concentrated in this punch. This is the first time Chu Xiu has chosen melee. No reservations. Boom. With a punch, there is a cracking sound in the air. Fist pushes the air. Bang on the slender back of the night demon. Then, the fist went straight through. Sure enough, it is immune to physical attacks. Chu Xiu felt like the punch had hit the air. There is no feeling of hitting the real thing at all. But he wasn't surprised either, because this punch is just an attempt. Unlike other monsters, in the future, information about night monsters will be popularized. The two most important. One is her weakness, fear of light and heat. Another is that she is almost immune to physical attacks. Exactly light and heat, I have it here. Chu Xiu finished, waiting for the night demon to turn around and attack. Flashes again. Appears a few meters away. Get away. Then he raised his hand, and a flash of lightning struck the night demon spirit. 35. After being attacked by lightning, the night demon finally reacted. White smoke erupted from the shock site. Lees, screaming horribly. Immediately after, at night, the demon spirit passed through the wall and disappeared into the bathroom. It works, but the lethality doesn't seem to be very large. Seeing the night demon spirit fleeing through the wall, Chu Xiu frowned. It doesn't feel like the lightning has done much damage to it either. More than a deterrent. Let the night demon be afraid. At this time, Bai Xiao, who had been watching the battle, suddenly spoke. You can keep using physical attacks. She said, You sure? Isn't this thing immune to physical attacks? It's not that Chu Xiu doesn't want to believe Bai Xiao. The problem is that night demons are immune to physical attacks, which is already common sense in the future. She's not immune to physical attacks. It's about switching between tangible and intangible. Your physical attacks will only work if she's in a tangible state. Bai Xiao said slowly. This is her fighting time in just a few seconds. Observed results. So, when is she tangible? Chu Xiu chose to trust Bai Xiao. Bai Xiao raised his head. Clear eyes, looking at Chu Xiu's eyes. When she's about to attack you. When she is about to attack you. The meaning of this sentence. It was Chu Xiu who had to dodge and dodge, waiting for the moment when the night demon's attack was about to land on him. Attack again. Fine. Chu Xiu chose to trust Bai Xiao. Flush out of the women's toilet. Chase in the direction the night demon spirit escaped. The moment Chu Xiu stepped into the corridor, the picture in front of him suddenly flashed, like the snowflakes that flashed across an old-fashioned TV. The originally clean and tidy corridor suddenly flashed a scorched black scene after the fire. The lights are starting to flicker. This matched the lighting, and the corridor in front of Chu Xiu began to switch quickly. 1 second clean and 1 second scorched black. He. Then, strange laughter sounded. Suddenly left and right, it was impossible to tell where the sound was coming from. Immediately after, doors on both sides of the hallway opened at the same time. A gust of gloomy wind blew out from each open door and poured into the corridor. Chu Xiu's clothes were blown loudly. The sound of the wind whistling in my ears, the lights flickering on and off, the scenes constantly switching. Each one is interfering with Chu Xiu's senses. In this case, it was difficult for Chu Xiu to judge the specific location of the night demon spirit. Sudden, only claws stick out from the howling wind. Swish! Chu Xiu flashed decisively. The figure instantly appeared a few meters away. At the same time, the lights flickered more frequently. The walls even seeped blood, and the smell of blood became stronger and stronger. See, listen, touch, sniff. There are more and more distractions, and the environment becomes more and more bizarre. The end of the hallway even twists. The ceiling and floor twist into a twist. Everything is as seen by someone who has eaten poisonous mushrooms. Do you think that I can't find you? See more and more distractors. Chu Xiu simply closed his eyes. Focus all your attention on magnetic field sensing. For a moment, all distractions disappear. The 500 twisted corridors were restored to their original shape in an instant and became straight. Every move around him was clearly reflected in Chu Xiu's mind. Next second, the night demon appeared again. 35, accompanied by a shrill howl. The night demon spirit in a white dress rushed out from the wall beside Chu Xiu. The claws were raised high. It is about to open Chu Xiu's skull and break his brain. Can't stand it anymore. Chu Xiu opened his eyes. Stand still. With cold eyes, he quietly waited for the sharp claws of the night demon to fall. It was exactly as Bai Xiao said. When the claws of the night demon were less than 10 centimeters above Chu Xiu's head, her translucent body suddenly solidified a little bit. Right now, Chu Xiu's eyes narrowed. The palm of the hand instantly condensed one after another of thunder light and slammed it on the chest of the night demon spirit. Boom! Lightning burst. The escaping energy becomes a tiny electric current. It spreads out in the form of a network. And the night demon spirit that was directly shot by the lightning had a hole in its chest. The ghostly body seemed to be struck by a giant hammer. Fly out like a broken kite. At this time, Bai Xiao, who seemed to be prepared, was standing at the location where the demon spirits fell at night. At the time of the whereabouts of the demon spirits at night, she pulled out several long strips of radiant light-like devices from her pockets. Throw it to the ground quickly. Boom! At night, the demon spirit slammed to the ground. At the moment of landing, the night demon spirit let out a miserable howl. Then the body began to blur, ready to run away again. But right now, the device Bai Xiao threw on the ground suddenly made a harsh, low-frequency noise. Then, each unit emits an ultraviolet light, under UV irradiation. The night demon seems to have suffered a great deal of pain. White smoke rose all over. The slender, skinny body twisted on the ground in all kinds of weird poses that humans can do. Under the action of low-frequency noise and ultraviolet light emitted by the device, she doesn't seem to be able to enter the blurred state. Can only struggle on the ground in pain. Okay, now you can kill her. After doing all this, Bai Xiao silently stepped aside. When she spoke, the night demon also reacted and began to destroy the surrounding devices with its sharp claws. See, Chu Xiu didn't say much. The right hand is empty, and the electric energy full of destructive aura gathers and solidifies in the palm of the hand. Zzz, in the sound of crackling electric current. A spear composed entirely of lightning energy appeared in Chu Xiu's hands. Just like Zeus in ancient Greek mythology, holding a thunder and lightning spear. Then, the thunder spear was thrown by Chu Xiu. Bright spears pierced the air. Wherever, the strong wind disappeared, and the twisted corridor became normal, as if everything was broken by it. Finally, the spear fell on the night demon. The sudden burst of thunder and lightning blew out a bright, dazzling white light. Boom! Then the explosion sounded. The whole corridor began to tremble, twist, crumble, and gradually become unreal. The sun pierced into this space little by little. This piece of space that was originally night is gradually pulled back to the real daytime. Everything seems to have turned from fiction to reality. Open your eyes again. Chu Xiu has returned to the 4th floor of the hospital that was burned by the fire. It's as if I've been here all along, and I've never been anywhere. Bam! But then, the building ahead collapsed due to the explosion. Proof that everything just now is not illusory. From the outside, the hospital looked like it was hit by a shell, and a large hole was blown out on the west side of the building. You kill a sea-level monster, night demon, EXP plus 3,000. Current EXP, 6,211. The beep was long overdue. Brought an astonishing result. Killing the night demon spirit actually gained 3,000 experience points. Plus, when you come to the hospital, zombies and beasts cleaned up along the way. At this time, Chu Xiu's total experience value has reached over 6,000. To save 10,000, let's upgrade the system first. Chu Xiu has already considered the use of experience points. At this time, floor that was crumbling due to the explosion and walked over to Chu Xiu. Poker face. Not at all worried about the floor under your feet collapsing. What shall I call you? Chu Xiu knew Bai Xiao's name, but Bai Xiao still didn't know what Chu Xiu's name was. Chu Xiu. Chu Xiu introduced himself. Chu Xiu, can you give me a sample of your blood? It would be even better if you would also give me a sample of your brain tissue. Bai Xiao said calmly and seriously. 6,695. Chu Xiu was speechless for a moment. After a few seconds, he asked quietly, why? At first I thought the lightning you released was the result of magnetism. 5. I found out later that it wasn't. You seem to have multiple abilities at the same time. There are 3 things I see: magnetic fields, lightning, and teleportation. 55. I want to study it. See if you can let more people have multiple abilities like you. Bai Xiao said quietly. Unlike others, Bai Xiao only used 2 eyes to see that Chu Xiu's lightning was not the result of magnetism. This observation is also a manifestation of her high-speed thinking. Then you might be disappointed. My ability cannot be replicated. No matter how you research, nothing will come of it. 99. Chu Xiu dismissed Bai Xiao's research idea in 1 sentence. This is true. After all, others have no system. I understand. Bai Xiao didn't ask any further and turned to leave. Wait. 35. Chu Xiu stopped her. But before Chu Xiu explained his thoughts, Bai Xiao replied quietly. I'll go with you, but I'm going to sort out the materials I'm going to take away. In fact, when Chu Xiu insisted on killing the night demon, Bai Xiao guessed that the man in front of him was going to take him away. She didn't stop it at the time, even if it is an agreement. Chu Xiu did not expect Bai Xiao to be so direct. Then, do you want me to help? Want. Bai Xiao was not polite at all. Done. Take Chu Xiu and go downstairs. As soon as he reached the stairs, he met Yi, who was as anxious as a hot pot ants, rushing upstairs. Chu Xiu. See Chu Xiu. Yi was so anxious that her head was sweating. In an instant, it was like a big stone fell to the ground in my heart. Chu Xiu, are you all right? Yi threw away the mace and rushed to Chu Xiu's side. Check it up and down. After confirming that he was unscathed, he breathed a sigh of relief. I just heard the explosion and thought. Yi was talking. Suddenly, he noticed that there was a very beautiful woman beside Chu Xiu. Xiaomei jumped up involuntarily. She is. Yi is not jealous. Just pure curiosity in less than a few minutes. Where did Chu Xiu find such a beautiful beauty? That's right, the beauty of Bai Xiao. Even the woman couldn't help but be amazed. But it's just a surprise. Those emotionless eyes cut off all plans to make people want to get close. A true iceberg beauty. It can be viewed from a distance and cannot be played with. Her name is Bai Xiao. She will come with us later. 35. Chu Xiu briefly introduced it, then continued to follow Bai Xiao. Go to her lab. Yi picked up the mace and followed. Keep going downstairs. Enter the basement. But this time, instead of the corridor leading to the motor room, it was another darker corridor. Take advantage of the dim light of the safe passage sign on the wall. The 3 characters of mortuary appeared in front of Chu Xiu. There is a battery in the safety exit warning sign, and it will light up when the power is off. Arrive. Bai Xiao said. Just pushed the door and walked in. Her lab is in the morgue? Isn't she afraid? 33. Yi asked in a trembling voice. Since entering this corridor, she has been following Chu Xiu closely, not daring to leave. She's not really afraid. Chu Xiu smiled. Then he walked into the morgue without hesitation. Now this world, the dead are really nothing to be afraid of. After all, the streets are full of dead and moving corpses. Enter the morgue. The strong smell of disinfectant alcohol came out. However, what could not be concealed was the strange smell of anatomy. Pat! Bai Xiao turned on a switch on the wall. The lights in the hospital mortuary, which should have been powered off, suddenly turned on one by one. A room that has been transformed beyond recognition comes into view. The first that catches the eye. In the middle of the room, there was a huge, spliced operating table, and there was a half-finished monster lying on the table. Human body, but disemboweled. There are many twisted and bizarre limbs beside them, waiting to be stitched up. There are many strange instruments around. In the corner, there are also several bottles and jars, which are biological organs soaked in formalin. There are human. There are monsters too. In, who first saw this scene, was stunned. The little mouth open wide. Chu Xiu, that kind of monster outside. Wouldn't she be the one who made it? In thought of something and asked with a look of horror. Seeing Chu Xiu nodded. In was completely dumbfounded and looked at Bai Xiao as if she was looking at a monster. The body could not help but move away from her a little bit. You killed type and type biological weapons. 9. This is type 2. It hasn't been remodeled yet. When passing the operating table, Bai Xiao calmly introduced to Chu Xiu. Any district police? 99. Chu Xiu asked. The degree of control is different. Type 1 can only be implanted with primary instructions, and the instruction I gave it was to clean up the zombies. But if someone gets close, the Type 1 is indiscriminate. Type can accept more complex instructions. I gave it instructions to stop you before you entered that corridor. It worked. Talking room. Bai Xiao has already sorted out the materials to take away. Part of the paper archive, a thick stack. There's also a laptop. The shape is very simple, but without any brand logo. It seems to be customized. Chu Xiu, In. Can you help me move these samples away? Holding laptop and paper materials. Bai Xiao walked to Chu Xiu and In side, pointed to the surrounding bottles, and asked. Seems to be in her world. There is no such thing as kindness and euphemism. Seriously, Bai Xiao, let's throw these things away. I think mechanical technology is more interesting than biological weapons. Chu Xiu looked around at the scene that looked like a slaughterhouse. Can't help but persuade. In fact, Bai Xiao's real achievement is to develop various high-tech weapons. But in the early days of the apocalypse. However, she took a detour for a long time and focused her energy on the crooked path of biological transformation. Chu Xiu intends to correct her in advance. I know. But modifying organisms costs less and consumes fewer resources. 35. Bai Xiao said. That being said, she did not object to Chu Xiu's proposal. It can be seen that her research on biological weapons did not take the initiative to go the wrong way, but a forced choice. Finally, none of the bottles and jars in the morgue were taken away. Chu Xiu poured gasoline on it and set it on fire. Leave the hospital. Bai Xiao noticed the steel man standing in front of the doomsday chariot. Can you give me a tissue sample of it? Open your mouth. Another familiar line. Row. Chu Xiu did not refuse. As soon as his mind moved, the steel man's arm immediately cracked. A few drops of liquid metal resembling mercury flowed down. Chu Xiu manipulates the magnetic field. Suck the steel man's blood sample. Then, the wound of the steel man was restored smoothly. Liquid metal? Bai Xiao is not like those research maniacs who can't wait to study when he gets a sample. She simply looked at the sample. Then use the glass tube you carry with you and store it. Have a mind generator and medicine been loaded? Chu Xiu asked. After getting a positive answer, board the car and start the vehicle. Slowly drove away from the hospital with billowing smoke. On the way back, the doomsday chariot driven by Chu Xiu and the fuel tanker driven by In. One after the other. Drive on streets that have already been cleared. In just a few hours, the number of zombies on this road actually increased instead of decreasing. Even variants like raiders, bloaters are common. Be a normal person. When this happens, you will definitely have a headache. But Chu Xiu looked indifferent, even a little happy. You kill ordinary zombies, experience value +1. You kill the E-level mutant zombie raider, experience value +10. You kill. Chu Xiu drove while driving. While manipulating a temporary flying knife, he harvested the zombies on the road. It is estimated that it will not be long before it reaches 10,000. Seeing the rapidly increasing experience points, Chu Xiu couldn't help but smile. Too bad this didn't last long. After all, the hospital is not far from Yijiang Garden. Soon, Chu Xiu returned to the path he used to take before. Zombies suddenly disappeared a lot. In the distance, you can already see the villa of Yijiang Garden. Wait, is that a gunship? At this moment, Chu Xiu suddenly noticed the sky above Yijiang Garden in the distance. There are 2 helicopters circling. An armed helicopter with various rockets and missiles hanging from the belly. The other was supposed to be a transport plane, is hovering. Throw down a rappel rope. Then, a soldier with live ammunition jumped down along the rope. People from the southwest base. Far away. Seeing this scene, Chu Xiu's eyes turned cold. The last time Li Qiuyue had a face-to-face with him, she thought that they could be at peace with each other. I didn't expect it to change today. Wu Ji was sent. Don't think about it. It must be a bad person. Then, Chu Xiu slammed the brakes, parked the doomsday chariot on the side of the road, and then ordered to shout at Yi behind. Leave the oil tanker alone. 35. Hurry up and stop and protect Bai Xiao. The importance of Bai Xiao is self-evident. Chu Xiu chose to arrange Yi to protect her. Okay, Yi also noticed the situation in the distance. Without hesitation, he immediately dropped the tanker and ran over. Steel man, come down and work. Chu Xiu shouted angrily, and the steel man directly smashed through the tailgate of the carriage and jumped off. Flowers. Follow Chu Xiu and rush towards Yijiang Garden. At the same time, the soldiers who descended from the helicopter have already started a carpet-like search in the Yijiang Garden. Soon, a soldier found Li Qiuyue's villa, but as soon as he entered, he was hit by a lightning with a thick arm and blasted out of the villa. But these soldiers seem to be well prepared. Each is wearing an insulating suit made of rubber. After the soldier fell, he only twitched in place for a while and then struggled to get up. Reports, sir. I found the target. In Villa 8. With reporting, the surrounding soldiers quickly surrounded. The 2 helicopters in the sky also stopped circling and flew towards Villa number 8. Attention everyone. Check the ammo. Never. Do not use live ammunition. Get your anesthesia gun ready. On the helicopter, a middle-aged man with falcon-like eyes shouted on the walkie-talkie. Receive an order. The soldiers who had surrounded the villa all put on anesthesia bombs. 0-0. At the same time, in the villa, Li Qiuyue was also ready for battle, and her eyes were completely filled with lightning. A hair without wind is automatic. Surrounding metal. Will it be hit by a small electric current? These guys are supposed to be soldiers at the southwest base. He came to catch me. 35. Li Qiuyue glanced at the soldier outside the window. Noticing the insulating suits on these soldiers, I immediately had a guess. Chun Mei-Wei, hurry up and hide in the basement. No matter what happens next. You don't even come out. When Chu Xiu comes back, you must tell him the truth about what happened today. 99. Li Qiuyue instructed Chun Mei-Wei on the side. In speech, there are plans to fight to the death. Do not. I am with you. What Li Qiuyue did not expect was that Chun Mei-Wei, an ordinary person, actually shook her head. Turn around and take out a shotgun from the cupboard. These are the spoils of war captured by Chu Xiu. He doesn't have to. Just throw in the car and the villa at will. If something happens to you, do you think Chu Xiu will spare me? 99. Chun Mei-Wei is very clear about her position in Chu Xiu's heart. If Li Qiuyue had an accident, you must not be able to bear it. And didn't you see that they were all wearing insulating suits? No lightning. What's the difference between you and me? Talking room. The outside door of the villa was knocked open. Boom. Chun Mei-Wei did not hesitate, pulling the trigger towards the door. This is where the benefits of the shotgun come into play. Dozens of steel balls in one shot. As long as the aim is not too outrageous, there's always a steel ball that can hit the enemy. What's more, Chun Mei-Wei, a billionaire, often goes to foreign shooting ranges to play with guns. Not to mention how accurate the marksmanship is. At least a range of tens of meters will not be empty. Really, With the sound of a gunshot, the soldier who hit the door was directly beaten into a sieve. Although rubber insulating clothing can prevent electric shock, can't stop bullets. Attention! There are other people around the target. Have a gun. Other soldiers heard gunfire and immediately changed their battle plans. Group A, prepare to release tear gas. Sean. Group A, ready for tear gas. One command. Several windows of the villa were smashed. Then, several smoky smoke grenade-like devices was thrown in. It's tear gas. 99. Chu Xiu, come into the bathroom with me. 35. Just when Chen Mei pulled Li Chu Xiu and hid in the bathroom, several pieces of tear gas were thrown into the villa. Sudden up. It's like a force is picking them up. Then it was all thrown out the window. At the same time. Boom dash. There was also a loud bang from outside the villa. Then there was a series of heavy footsteps that shook the earth. There are other awakens here. Outside the villa, a soldier heard the movement and turned his head. But I only saw a 2-meter-tall strong man made of steel, roaring and rushing over. Every step you take. Earthquake. The shards of glass that had just been shattered and hung on the window frame fell down. Shoot now, accompanied by an exclamation. The soldiers who were originally besieging the villa turned their guns and pulled the trigger at the steel man. A round of anesthesia needles hit the steel man. The needle tube bends instantly. Fall to the ground. Use live ammunition. Quick. Some soldiers were quick-witted and loaded their guns with live ammunition. 5-0, but still to no avail. In front of these soldiers, the steel man who was beaten by Chu Xiu finally regained some ground. Dang, 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 dang. The bullets that hit it were bounced off one after another. It doesn't even affect its speed. Boom. Suddenly, a rocket landed at the feet of the steel man and exploded. The impact of the explosion. The explosion caused the steel man to lose his balance and fell to the ground, his heavy body sliding for dozens of meters. But it didn't hurt the Steelers. Just let it fall. Keep firing. Don't let it get up. Seeing the steel man shook his head. He wanted to stand up. Air. Military helicopter. Then another rocket was fired. The rocket pierced the air. With a scorching tail flame, it flew towards the steel man. Fly halfway. Sudden. The rocket seems to have entered some kind of invisible force field. Speed drops until it comes to a complete stop. Get it back to you. The figure of Chu Xiu appeared behind the steel man and walked over slowly. His magnetic field has already spread all over the battlefield. The tear gas just now. It was he who manipulated the magnetic field and threw it out. Now, Chu Xiu manipulates the magnetic field, holds a rocket in the air, and then twists the magnetic field. Put the front end of the rocket, slowly facing the gunship in the air. What's the situation? 99. The pilot of the helicopter widened his eyes. In addition to horror, get ready to continue firing rockets. Without waiting for his thumb to press the red launch button. A frozen rocket. Just fly towards the helicopter. Obviously, the fuel has been exhausted, and even the tail flame is gone, but it can still fly. Dodge! Dodge! That's too late. Hurry up. There was a mess in the gunship. The only thing in common is that each of them didn't have time to react. Boom! With a loud bang, a flame exploded in the air. The helicopter was blown into two pieces by the middle and fell down with thick smoke. The people inside were already dead when it exploded. It's this guy's fault. Shoot now. At this time, the soldiers on the ground also noticed Chu Xiu. He quickly turned the gun on him. I don't know what kind of idiot sent you here to die. 35. Chu Xiu glanced at the group of soldiers. Just one look. Shoo. The firearms in the hands of all the soldiers suddenly came out of their hands and were pulled into the air by a mysterious force. No matter how hard they try, it won't help. One soldier was carried into the air with a gun because he was holding it too tightly. What? The soldier let go of his hand in horror and fell from the air. As if to cooperate with the soldier's scream. Dozens of rifles suspended in the air. A quick turn. Muzzle turned on his original owner. No, no, no. All the soldiers were stunned by this scene. These people are not awakened people. They're just ordinary people without superpowers. Firearms. It's the only thing they rely on. Without the gun, All the soldiers present felt a hopeless sense of powerlessness. Quick, run. I don't know who called first. Immediately afterwards, all the soldiers turned around and ran. But their actions seemed to have caused some kind of chain reaction. Bang, 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 bang. Just as the soldiers turned and ran away, dozens of guns controlled by Chu Xiu suddenly opened fire. Dense bullets instantly beat these soldiers into sieves. Cancel the arrest. Mission failed. At the same time, another helicopter in the air, that is, the transport plane, already noticed it was wrong. Turn the direction and prepare to escape. Since you're here, don't leave. 35. Chu Xiu heard the movement and looked up in the air. Hold out a hand. Grip in space. In an instant, to escape seemed to be stuck in a quagmire. The speed suddenly slowed down. Come on. 35. Why are you standing still? On the helicopter, the middle-aged man with eyes like a falcon. There is horror in his eyes now. Damn it. Isn't it said that there is only one awakener of the Thunderbolt type? Why did TMD pop up 2 more? There is one more. It seems to be able to manipulate the magnetic field. The middle-aged man was horrified. He kept urging the pilot to leave quickly. Sir, it looks like we're being held back by something. The pilot also panicked at this time. The joystick is pushed all the way. The helicopter did not move forward at all, and even showed signs of going backwards. Warning, 35, accompanied by a harsh warning sound. The engine of the helicopter, because of overheating, gave off blue smoke. That person did it. 35. The middle-aged man suddenly understood everything. Look back. Sure enough, I saw Chu Xiu stretch out a hand and hold it in the air, as if grabbing a helicopter. Then, grasp your hand slowly. In an instant, the helicopter seemed to be squeezed by an invisible big hand. The metal cabin begins to deform, accompanied by a harsh metallic twisting sound. The cabin slowly squeezes inward. In the process, the bulletproof glass fell from the already deformed frame. Immediately afterwards, the propeller also stopped spinning. Several fan blades were twisted into a twist shape. Get me down. 35. Under Chu Xiu's anger, the helicopter, which lost its lift, smashed straight to the ground. Boom! In a loud noise, it slammed heavily on the road of the community. The moment it hits the ground, the pilot slammed into the console due to inertia, and his brain was overflowing. But the middle-aged man miraculously survived, and he is also the only living person in his group. There are corpses all around, dead soldiers, blood flowing along the road, merged into a stream, into the sewer. Cough, cough. The middle-aged man climbed out of the twisted helicopter. Surprisingly, the injuries on his body began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Wound healing. Scar. Then drop. Everything happened in a short period of time. Oh, it seems that you are also unawakened. 35. Chu Xiu came over and saw the change in the man. His eyes narrowed. The attribute panel of the middle-aged man immediately appeared. Name, Shi Gaoyang. S*X male. Talent, primary self-healing LV2. Self-healing? 35. After seeing the talent of the middle-aged man, Chu Xiu couldn't help but light up. This ability falls on ordinary people. At most, it's just a little bit more durable. It doesn't improve the combat power much. But for Chu Xiu, who has many abilities, this ability is undoubtedly a god-level talent. Even the primary self-healing. It can also greatly improve Chu Xiu's combat fault tolerance. Copy. In the face of the ability that came to the door, Chu Xiu did not hesitate at all. He stepped on Shi Gaoyang's head. At the same time, he shouted in his heart, Ding! Successful copying. Get primary self-healing LV2. Upgrade primary self-healing. The experienced Chu Xiu doesn't skimp. At the moment when the copy was completed, I decided to upgrade. Ding! Consumes 1,000 experience points. Primary self-healing is raised to LV3. The energy shock that just copied the ability is not over yet. Another larger energy surged into the body like a tide. Name, Chu Xiu. System level, 1. Strength, 151. Agility, 32. Physical, 140 O plus 61. Energy, 186. Talent, magnetic field control LV3. Thunderbolt 4.1 control LV3. Primary self-healing LV3. Max, primary flashing LV3. Max, Julie LV3. Max. Use slot, 5/5. Subordinate, In E, loyalty 100. Li Xiu, loyalty 100. Experience, 75/27. Potential for high-speed self-healing. Like Julie and primary flicker, reaching LV3 is the limit. However, the improvement is quite obvious. Chu Xiu found that his physique had soared to a rather exaggerated level. 14 times that of ordinary people. Exactly the same level as strength. Unexpectedly, you're still a good person who sends warmth for thousands of miles. 99. After copying is complete. Chu Xiu lowered his head and looked down at Shi Gaoyang, who was stepping on his feet. A sarcastic smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Shi Gaoyang, who was trampled on his head, kept struggling. But his power, it was like a joke in front of Chu Xiu. Do you know who I am? You think Shi Gaoyang hasn't finished speaking yet. Chu Xiu stepped on it a little harder. For a moment, Shi Gaoyang felt that his head was about to explode. He could even hear the crackling sound of the skull slowly cracking open. Shi Gaoyang screamed for a few seconds. Sudden, Chu Xiu loosened up a little bit. Who? Shi Gaoyang at this time, like someone who was on the verge of drowning, he suddenly got a breath. Breathing heavily, there were beads of sweat all over his forehead. You. Shi Gaoyang raised his head with difficulty. In the shadow of the sun, he saw a pair of emotionless eyes looking down at him. That's the look of a dead man. Don't kill me. I'm also following orders. What do you want to know? I'll tell you all. 35. After feeling the chill of death, Shi Gaoyang was stunned in an instant. At the same time, I scolded the gang in charge of intelligence 10,000 times in my heart. What does it mean that there's only one awakened? Is this cowardly? Chu Xiu frowned. It's hard to come across an awakened person with self-healing ability, so be prepared to have fun for a while. As a result, this product is so unsatisfactory. Frightened with one look. Forget it, tell me. Who sent you here? Chu Xiu was a little disappointed. What's the point of interrogation without torture? Dr. Zhao. He asked us to capture the awakened. Shi Gaoyang did not dare to hide it. 151. Dr. Zhao. Chu Xiu frowned. The name is really unfamiliar. What are you going to do with it? Anatomy? Research? 23. Chu Xiu continued to ask. Shi Gaoyang nodded. Maybe he also realized that if he said this, his life would be at risk, so he quickly added, but I'm not really involved. I'm just in charge of going out to carry out arrests. It's all about Dr. Zhao. Shi Gaoyang wanted to say more. Chu Xiu waved his hand to interrupt him. Last question. How do you know there's a Thunderbolt Awakener here? 35. Did that guy's surname Zhang tell you? Chu Xiu asked. The surname is Zhang. You mean Zhang Haoping, right? 35. No. Although he discovered the awakened, he didn't report it. It's the survivors accompanying his team. To save one's life. Shi Gaoyang, who was desperate to survive, almost said everything he knew. I can't wait to tell what the survivor of the whistleblower was called and what he looked like. Okay, no need to say. Chu Xiu waved his hand, then turn around and leave. Shi Gaoyang thought he was dead. See Chu Xiu turn and leave. Stunned for a second. This is the reaction. Thank you, big brother, for not killing. Shi Gaoyang was overjoyed. He quickly got up from the ground. But it didn't take long for a long piece of metal to separate from the wreckage of the helicopter. Then he wrapped around Shi Gaoyang's neck, dragged him into the helicopter. The joy on Shi Gaoyang's face instantly froze, struggling with hands and feet, but to no avail. Only in endless despair, he was dragged into the wreckage of the helicopter little by little. Then, the wreckage slammed inward. The cabin that originally had a little space with the entry of the middle-aged man completely collapsed, turns into an almost solid big iron ball. Slap. Columns of blood, wrapped in minced meat, burst out from the gaps in the wreckage. You kill LV2 awakened, EXP plus 500, current EXP, 8,027, accompanied by the system beep. Chu Xiu returned to the villa. At this time, Li Qiuyue and Chen Meiyue had already walked out of the villa. The battle outside ended too soon. When the two came out, the outside was already full of stumps and broken arms. I'm sorry, Chu Xiu. See Chu Xiu. Li Qiuyue lowered her head in shame. She was ashamed of her own inadequacy. You know what was the stupidest thing you did today? Chu Xiu shook his head and glanced at the soldiers in insulating suits all over the floor. You know these people come prepared. 35. It's all about you. 39. You still haven't run away, and you still choose to be tough with them? Awakens are never invincible, let alone those who are deliberately targeted. In this case, don't run. Don't you wait to die? Yes, but I promise you that I will keep it here. 5. Li Qiuyue's idea is very simple. What he promised to Chu Xiu would be done no matter what. Even death. Never give up. 6,699. Look at this stubborn girl in front of you. Chu Xiu was speechless. Then try to become stronger. As long as you are strong enough, no matter how the enemy targets you, it will be futile in the end. 99. Chu Xiu said. A thunderbolt spear condensed in the palm of his hand. It was thrown at a soldier's body in an insulating suit not far away. Boom! In Li Qiuyue's shocking gaze. Bright white light. A lightning spear full of destructive energy. At the moment of landing, the soldier's body was blown up to the point where there was no slag left. What insulating suit? What rubber? In front of this energy, like snowflakes falling on lava, it melted instantly. Chu Xiu who did it all. Without further ado, after rubbing Li Qiuyue's little head, she shouted to the Steel Man. Steel Man, find a car, take the body out and burn it. Remember to run away before burning. It didn't take long. In the community, the scattered corpses disappeared. The wreckage of the two helicopters was also thrown outside the community by the stealers. Even the blood on the ground, also cleaned up by several women. At this moment, in addition to the air in the community, there's an undetectable smell of blood, as if nothing had happened. But whether it's In or Li Qiuyue, they all know that this is just before the storm. A moment of peace. Get ready to power up. Chu Xiu seemed to have forgotten what happened just now. At this time, with Bai Xiao, the mind generator set brought back from the hospital was connected to the main line of the community. With Bai Xiao's help, Chu Xiu also replanned the circuit, which solved the power supply demand of the entire community in one fell swoop, while saving energy. You will live here in the future. 9. If you need anything, just tell me. 95. After solving the power supply problem, Chu Xiu arranged a villa for Bai Xiao alone. The reason for separating Bai Xiao from the others. It's mainly because Bai Xiao does some shocking experimental projects at every turn. In order not to scare other people, the best way is to let her live alone in a building. 35. I need a sterile room, a centrifuge, liquid nitrogen, a microbiological incubator, 1,000+ microscope. Facing Chu Xiu's inquiry, Bai Xiao was not polite at all and continued to talk about a lot of needs. The end. Don't forget to add, if you want me to change my research mind. 35. Then I need more. Then, Bai Xiao listed a lot of equipment. Even an outrageous device, such as a particle collider, has been proposed. 66.99. The more Chu Xiu listened, the more speechless he became. Sure enough, only large survivor bases can afford scientific research. A small temple of 2 or 3 people like myself. It seems that they can't afford to pay for the big Buddha, Bai Xiao, at all. Are you worried that you can't find the equipment I'm talking about? Bai Xiao seemed to see Chu Xiu's thoughts. Do not worry. I know where these things are. With your strength, it's not very difficult to get them. 35. Bai Xiao said, open up the laptop that I had been carrying with me. Then, after an operation that Chu Xiu couldn't understand, it seemed to be connected to a certain satellite image. On the notebook, a real-time high-altitude view of the satellite image appeared. Isn't there a power outage? Chu Xiu glanced at it and noticed that Bai Xiao's laptop was always connected to the internet. Civilian network down. No military use. Bai Xiao replied, 500. Thin fingers swipe quickly across the trackpad. The satellite image quickly zoomed in. Draw closer. What is presented is the real-time picture of H City. Is this a military reconnaissance satellite? Chu Xiu was surprised. It is obviously not possible for ordinary satellites to have such a clear picture at such a large scale. Free Nation's Tsunami Reconnaissance Satellite. 99. Bai Xiao nodded. Then point to an area on the screen. There's a biological laboratory here, 35 kilometers away. 99. It's also the closest to us. Done. Keep swiping the satellite map. Arms Institute, 71 kilometers, 35. Nuclear Functional Design Institute, 116 kilometers, 35. This is also a biological laboratory, 125 kilometers. Centers for Disease Control, 144 kilometers. One after another research institute or laboratory was pointed out by Xiao like a treasure. Among them are highly classified locations, the kind that can't be seen on civilian maps at all. Wait, is there a doctor named Zhao in this laboratory? Chu Xiu pulled the satellite image back to its original position, pointing to the biological laboratory that Xiao mentioned at the beginning, that is, the one that is 35 kilometers away. Why do you ask? It was because Chu Xiu discovered that the location of this biological laboratory happened to be near the southwest base, only 5 or 6 kilometers away from the southwest base. A doctor surnamed Zhao. You should be talking about the security director of this laboratory, Zhao Liwei. But he didn't get a PhD. Bai Xiao seemed to know the situation in these laboratories very well. Chu Xiu asked. She answered immediately. It was even clear whether the other party had a doctorate or not. Haha, isn't this a coincidence? Chu Xiu doesn't care if this guy is a real doctor. Here Bai Zhao's answer. He has basically determined that this so-called Zhao Liwei should be the Dr. Zhao mentioned by Shi Gaoyang. It was getting dark. It is located on a road more than 10 kilometers north of the southwest base. Several heavily armed soldiers. Under the cover of the armored vehicle, he was frantically shooting a few winged demons in the air. Hey ga! The bullets shot densely into the air, but it still couldn't resist the winged demon's dive attack. Soon, a young warrior was caught by a winged demon swooping in from behind. The winged demon's claws pierced his shoulder blades. Take him into the air. Team Zhang, save me. 99. Looking at the ground getting smaller and smaller, the young warrior desperately called for help. Team Zhang in his mouth. It was Zhang Haoping who led the team to Yijiang Garden before. Little Li, seeing that his companion was caught, Team Zhang was shocked and hurriedly shot at the winged demon in the air. His marksmanship is accurate, but it still can't save the young warrior who was caught in the sky. With the winged demon release its claws, the young warrior fell straight down from a height of nearly 100 meters. It fell directly into a pulp. I am CNM. Die me. The tragic situation of the young soldier made the other soldiers in the team burn with anger. A veteran about the same age as Team Zhang goes straight out of cover. Disregarding his own safety, he shoots wildly at the winged demon in the sky. Old Liu, come back soon. Team Zhang shouted at the veterans and kept firing at the same time, trying to attract the attention of the winged demons. But it's too late. In the sky, the only remaining three-headed winged demons found an opportunity and swooped down in unison. Sai Jie. Hiss. The iconic howl. Just like the Stuka attack aircraft during World War II, it makes the scalp tingling. Death to me. The old soldier roared, his eyes were red, and he shot his rifle with one hand. The other hand stretched to the waist. Grab a grenade. Old Liu, don't do stupid things. Old Liu. In the terrified eyes of other soldiers, the three-headed winged demon swoops in. The veteran also flipped the grenade safety at the same time, then released it. Boom! With an explosion, the veteran was blown to pieces in an instant. The winged demon that swooped down was also affected by the explosion. Although the fragments of the grenade are difficult to kill, the shock wave can overturn them. Sai Jie. The winged demon fell to the ground, howling, flapping its wings to take off again. But the soldiers around were already red-eyed. Die. 99. In a roar, the three-headed winged demon that fell to the ground was instantly beaten into a sieve. The soldiers still did not give up until the magazine is empty. It stopped in despair. Another young soldier in the team looked at the dead teammates. I couldn't help shouting. While shouting, the tears could not stop flowing down. Okay, don't shout, don't attract the beasts. Although heartbroken, but as the captain, Zhang Haoping could only suppress his grief and continue to command the team. Everyone, get in the car quickly. 35. We must report the latest news of the corpse tied to the base. 39. Zhang Haoping ordered. This time, he and his team were not there to collect supplies. Instead, he ventured into the periphery of H City to investigate the latest situation of the corpse tide. The situation is not optimistic. The scale of the corpse tide far exceeded the initial estimate. Beep beep. Just when Team Zhang got into the car and was ready to leave. A portable radio at the waist. Suddenly it rang. Shown above is an unfamiliar channel. This is the material collection team of the Southwest base. Who are you? Zhang Haoping connected to the channel and reported his home at the same time. Team Zhang, right? A slightly icy voice sounded on the radio. It was Chu Xiu. You are. Zhang Haoping frowned and suddenly thought of something. Questioned. Why is the walkie-talkie in your hand? What about the little girl with the lightning power? Zhang Haoping is in his 40s. Li Qiu, who has not graduated from university, is indeed a little girl in front of him. Don't be nervous. 35. I came to you just to ask you something. 35. Chu Xiu did not answer Zhang Haoping's question. Instead, go straight to the topic. How many people in your team know that there's a lightning ability user in Yijiang Garden? Chu Xiu asked. Although a so-called Dr. Zhao has been known, but a researcher, obviously impossible to use such equipment as a gunship. Chu Xiu's character has always been like this. Either do not move. If you want to move, you have to uproot the enemy, and the eggs have to be shaken. Why do you ask? Did something happen? 5. Team Zhang is also a veteran. As soon as I heard the question from the person on the walkie-talkie, I immediately realized that something might have happened. Your Southwest base today sent 2 helicopters to arrest her. 99. In the channel, Chu Xiu's dull voice sounded. The sound is flat though, but the coldness of Sun Lung caught Team Zhang by surprise. This is impossible. I didn't report anything about her at all, and the defensive strength of our base is extremely lacking. It's too late to recruit the awakened. How could it be possible to send someone to arrest that little girl? Zhang Haoping didn't believe Chu Xiu's words at all. What's wrong, Team Zhang? The warrior general next to him was so excited. Asked a question. So, are you completely unaware? In the channel, Chu Xiu's voice was also a little helpless. He thought that this Zhang team knew something, but he didn't expect to ask 3 questions. Wait, just when Chu Xiu was about to cut off the communication, Zhang Haoping seemed to have thought of something. Suddenly, I'm thinking of someone. If anyone but me and my team knew about that little girl. 35. It must be him. When we arrived at Yijiang Garden, we took a few survivors in the car. It must be the information these survivors revealed to him. Zhang Haoping thought for a while. The ins and outs of the matter were quickly guessed. Who? Chu Xiu asked. Zhao Zhongxie, head of defense at our base, specially responsible for the defense of the base. He has the authority to command our field troops. 35. Also, every survivor we bring back has to be vetted by his department. Zhang Haoping replied. This Zhao Zhongxie is not a soldier, but a typical bureaucrat. Relying on the status before the end of the world, he formed a gang in the Southwest base and formed a large force. Don't let field troops bring back survivors. It was he who gave the order. Zhao Zhongxie. In the channel, Chu Xiu read the name thoughtfully. Communication was then cut off. Zhao Zhongxie. It seems that Dr. Shi was also surnamed Zhao before. Oh, shouldn't it be a family? Chu Xiu cuts off communication. Although the mastermind of the attack was found, but it was getting late. Chu Xiu was not in a hurry to come to the door to ask for an explanation. You should take a break now. Night. I will take you out to hunt the beasts. 55. Chu Xiu found Yin Yi and Li Qiu and said solemnly, Night. Didn't you say it's more dangerous at night? Innie almost thought she heard it wrong. All along, Chu Xiu never took them out of the shelter at night. All operations take place during the day. It's because it's more dangerous at night. I'll just let you out. Compared with other awakens of the same period, the second daughter's improvement speed has been very fast. Absolutely the strongest in the first echelon. But in front of Chu Xiu, the growth rate of the two girls is undoubtedly too slow. You must grow up quickly. 35. Especially you. Autumn Moon. Speaking of which, Chu Xiu didn't understand. Does blackening really make people stronger? In this life, Li Qiuyue, because she was rescued, did not experience those cruel abuses. On the contrary, the strength grows very slowly. I'm sorry, Chu Xiu. I will definitely become stronger. Please believe me. I will never let you down again. Li Qiuyue, who was named, suddenly panicked. Hastily promised Chu Xiu. It feels like a little stray cat that is afraid of being abandoned by its owner. Chu Xiu didn't expect Li Qiuyue's reaction to be so big. Just waved. It's all right, let's go and rest. It will be dark in a few hours. Soon, night falls. Chu Xiu asked the Steelers to stay in the community. He himself left the community with Yin Yi and Li Qiuyue. Different from daytime, the zombies at night entered a state similar to Berserk. Not only is it faster to act, the senses are also sharper than during the day. Not long after the three of Chu Xiu left the community, they immediately, Li's, attracted a large number of zombies and beasts to besiege. This time, Chu Xiu watched the whole process. The battle was completely handed over to Yin Yi and Li Qiuyue. The two girls have cooperated many times, and in this battle, they still cooperated very well. Li Qiuyue is the main output, responsible for dealing with mutant zombies and beasts on the field. Yin Yi is in the front row, carrying a pair of mace, the zombies that will rush through Li Qiuyue's power grid. Headshot. Li Qiuyue kills ordinary zombies. EXP +1. Li Qiuyue killed the E-level mutant zombie raider. EXP +10. Yin Yi kills the raider. EXP +10. Zombies at night. The senses are too sensitive. Slight movement. It will lead to a dense mass of corpses. As few as dozens. Hundreds at every turn. Under the dim moonlight, zombies continued to surround, and in the darkness, people were crowded. Face the zombies and beasts they're constantly attacking around you. The two girls were silent. Grit your teeth and keep fighting. Whether their strength has risen or not, Chu Xiu doesn't know. Anyway, his experience value. It's rising fast. Li Qiuyue kills the raider. EXP +10. Current EXP, 8,716. 99. It's still 1,300. Chu Xiu is like a foreman, standing on the roof of a building 100 meters away. Smile and watch the two girls suffer and suffer. These two, it seems that I was really stimulated by what I said. Chu Xiu is standing on the roof. There was already a hint of surprise in his eyes. 30 full minutes. Facing the zombies that seemed to be inexhaustible in all directions, the two girls persisted without saying a word. Don't take a step back. Not a word of help was issued. At the beginning, Chu Xiu came with the intention of training the two of them and harvesting experience points by the way. But over time, Chu Xiu was also shocked by the fighting spirit of the second daughter. Innie kills zombies. EXP +1. Li Qiuyue kills the raider. Li Qiuyue kills. Current EXP, 10,156. With the efforts of the two daughters, Chu Xiu's experience value has already exceeded the 10,000 mark. Innie at this time, the body is already covered with blood, and the whole person is like falling into a blood pool. In order to prevent the blood from splashing into the nose and mouth, she simply tore off a piece of her sleeve and used it as a mask. The continuous and prolonged high-intensity battle was about to exhaust all her strength. I knew earlier. I just asked Chu Xiu to lighten the mace. The exhausted Yin Yi even felt that the double mace in her hand was several times heavier. The original 80 kilograms is a long trump card. Now it seems as heavy as 300 to 400 kilograms. With every swing, It takes a lot of effort to get it back. Be careful. Seeing a zombie, Li Qiu pounced on Yi from behind, raising her hand, and it was a flash of lightning. But her mental strength was also on the verge of collapse. Sweat dripped from his forehead, even standing a little unsteady. Correct. I seem to be able to consume experience points to upgrade talents and abilities for my subordinates. 99. Looking at the exhausted two not far away. 500 Chu Xiu suddenly remembered. As their own bound subordinates, Yi and Li Qiu not only kill zombies, but also provide experience to Chu Xiu. Same. Chu Xiu can also consume experience to upgrade their talents and abilities. Anyway, it's your experience. Just get it back to you. Just when Chu Xiu was preparing to upgrade the talents for the two girls. Boom! Sudden. The field has changed. Li Qiu, who was still exhausted just now, was on the verge of collapse. In the eyes, suddenly there was a burst of lightning that was more dazzling than ever. A show full of lace. No wind automatic. Immediately after, as soon as she raised her hand, streaks of thunder light intertwined into a net. Just the overflowing arc will electrocute the brains of the zombies that are trying to get close. Subsequently, the grid exploded with dazzling white light. The night seems to be instantly illuminated. One after another thunder light with thick arms, like electric snakes, rammed through the corpse. A 20-meter radius turned into a minefield. Zzz. The zombies were smashed into pieces by the electric shock. Moon, you're getting stronger. The indiscriminate thunder and lightning almost attacked Yi. Fortunately, she responded quickly enough. Timely ran out of the coverage of the minefield. This is upgrade. Chu Xiu was slightly taken aback. Open Li Qiu's property panel and take a look. Name, Li Qiu. Gender, female. Loyalty, 100, until death. Talent, lightning control, LV3. Really? Li Qiu's lightning control has become LV3. Deb. Sure enough, things like potential are forced out. Chu Xiu could not laugh or cry. I was complaining about Li Qiu's slow growth not long ago. The result was a blink of an eye. Her lightning control is on the same level as herself. All right, save me 1,000 experiences. Chu Xiu smiled. Then he turned his attention to Yi. System, upgrade Yi's innate ability. Julie, 35. Ding. Consume 1,000 EXP. Subordinate, Yi. Talent ability. Julie has been raised to LV3. Chu Xiu's voice just fell. The mechanical rigid sound of the system rang out. At the same time, not far away, Yi, who was already exhausted, was suddenly stunned because she felt a powerful energy pouring into her body. She had never experienced this feeling. Be careful, Yi. Seeing Yi in a daze. Li Qiu quickly divided some of her energy and killed the zombies who wanted to get close to Yi. What are you doing, Yi? Li Qiu shouted. At this time, Yi has recovered. After sweeping away the exhausted appearance just now, the whole person became alive again. Moon, I seem to be getting stronger. Yi finished speaking, waving the mace. A sweep of 1,000 troops, accompanied by the whistling sound of breaking through the air. A mace that clearly has no sharp edge is like the sharpest blade in the world. Instantly cut all the zombies around. Just the cut part. Not a smooth cut, but the traces of being torn by a terrible force. 35. I'll just say it. Yi are the best. Yi, whose strength has skyrocketed, has a small head and can't help but swell up, carrying a long mace, directly rushed into the zombie pile. Every time the mace swept, it would bring a lot of blood and blood. The scene is horrific, and it's full of inconsistencies. A young and beautiful girl, swinging a long mace as thick as her arm, like a tiger in a sheep's den, killed the quartet in the zombie pile. It is estimated that anyone who sees this picture will be stunned for 2 seconds. It's so inconsistent. Every upgrade of talent ability is a qualitative leap. After upgrading from LV2 to LV3, the battle between the two girls instantly became easier. before the zombies came from all directions. The two girls were still a little busy. Now, it was a complete one-sided massacre. Gradually, the speed at which the zombies came in could not even keep up with the speed of the two girls harvesting. EXP plus 1. EXP plus 10. EXP plus 1. EXP plus 10. Listen to the beeping sound that keeps ringing in your ears. Chu Xiu people are numb. Are these two women crazy? Just for a moment. Just gave Yin 1,000 experience to upgrade her powers. Not only is it back up, it's more than 1,000 more than the original. Current EXP, 11,244. Current EXP, 11,287. And the experience is still growing rapidly. Which one should you upgrade first? Chu Xiu was in trouble. Upgrading the system requires 10,000 experience. Upgrading magnetic field control or upgrading lightning control is also 10,000 experience. And the latter, undoubtedly, it is the most intuitive combat improvement. But for some reason, Chu Xiu vaguely felt that upgrading the system might have greater benefits. Never mind. Let's upgrade the system first. After some entanglement, Chu Xiu made a decision. The voice just fell. The system prompt sound followed immediately. Ding. Consumes 10,000 experience. The system level is raised to level 2. Increased talent slots. Current remaining slot May 10th. Increased scan information. Can scan hostile mobs. New feature, subordinates. You can freely bind subordinates, and the binding object must not be lower than 80 loyalty. Can control the life and death of subordinates. Name, Chu Xiu. System level, 20/100,000. Strength, 151. Agility, 32. Physique, 140. Energy, 186. Talent, magnetic field control LV3, lightning. Control LV3, primary flash. Expand. Use slot, 5/10. Subordinate, Yin loyalty 100. Li Qiu loyalty 100. Experience, 1354. Just as Chu Xiu expected, upgrading the system did not bring about changes in strength. But the talent slots that had already been used up were suddenly increased by 5. Good. That alone is worth 10,000 experience. Chu Xiu is very satisfied. 5 more slots means that you can copy 5 more abilities. This is much stronger than simply improving attributes. And, after system upgrade, in addition to adding additional talent slots, 2 new functions have also been added. One is a subordinate function that has been inexplicably activated before. However, it was previously bound by default. Must also be 100 loyal. Now it can be bound freely, and the demand for loyalty has also dropped to 80, and after upgrading, it can also control the life and death of bound subordinates. Now, Chu Xiu felt that he only had one thought. It could take the lives of Li Qiu and Yin not far away. But this function, it's not a big deal. The loyalty of Li Qiu and Yin has reached the point of death. What is immortality? Simply put, nothing will change until death. In addition to the addition of talent slots and changes to subordinate functions. The last change in the system upgrade. It is the enhancement of scanning function. Can you scan for hostile life? Chu Xiu thought for a while. Then he set his eyes on an ordinary zombie not far away. With concentration, a message jumped out. Runner. Ordinary zombies. Common ordinary zombies have weak eyesight, good hearing, can run, and the speed is no different from ordinary people. Note, weaknesses are the brain and central nervous system. The information that jumps out can be said to be very comprehensive. Even the weaknesses are marked. Roar. Just as Chu Xiu was testing the new feature of scanning. Sudden, a roar came from not far away. The sound was different from all the zombies and beasts I had heard before. This is Night Demon's voice? Chu Xiu frowned. The figure disappeared instantly. Just a moment. Chu Xiu disappeared on the roof. Only a wisp of blue smoke remained. It appeared again in the middle of the street, but only for a moment, as if it was a frame of the movie stuck. In a flash, then disappear again. Just a second. Chu Xiu flashed twice in a row, spanning a distance of 100 meters. In an instant, he came to the side of the two girls. Oh, In, who was in high spirits, didn't notice Chu Xiu's arrival at all. Hear movement. Didn't even think about it. He swung his mace toward Chu Xiu's position. UB****ch. Chu Xiu cursed secretly. It flashed again, appeared behind In, and then slapped her upside down. What? Some zombies insulted me. In screamed. Quickly turned back. Seeing Chu Xiu standing behind him, he reacted. Chu Xiu, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you who came here. 5. Halfway through, In suddenly reacted. Oh, that's not right. When will you teleport? Although In also went to Huishan prison at that time. But when Chu Xiu got the flickering ability, she was not by his side, and Chu Xiu never used it in front of her. So In is the same as Li Qiuyue. I don't know that Chu Xiu has the ability to teleport. Now is not the time to talk about that. Chu Xiu didn't explain anything. His eyes turned to the shadows of the surrounding buildings. You two didn't realize that you were surrounded? Chu Xiu said coldly. Under the dim moonlight, in the surrounding buildings, some tall and thin figures flashed from time to time. The figure flashed by, extremely fast. In just a few seconds, these figures surrounded the 3 people on the field. What the hell is this? When did they come? Here, Chu Xiu reminded. Only then did the 2 women notice the figures around them. Suddenly, there was a chill. As I said, the most dangerous is at night. It's not just because the zombies at night become violent and more aggressive. More importantly, a lot of stuff only comes out at night. This one is one of them. As Chu Xiu spoke, he looked at the tall figures flashing around him. Soon, he captured the data of one of the figures. Night Demon, C-class mutated zombie. Darkness lives in the dark and usually appears at night. Great strength, fast action, great bounce, can easily climb walls and never act alone. Note, fear of strong light and ultraviolet rays. Sure enough, the Night Demon. Scan results. Sure enough, Chu Xiu did not expect. The tall and thin figures around him were the Night Demons in his memory. Night Demon is also a zombie. 5. Li Qiuyue asked. Well, a mutant zombie that only comes out at night. Chu Xiu nodded. At this time, the deafening roar sounded again. Roar! The roar seemed to be a signal. More than a dozen black shadows rushed out of the shadows in unison, but not in a random swarm, but from different directions, different angles, and even different times. This thing looked so ugly. In had a look of disgust on her face and decisively swung her mace. The long mace breaks the air. He slammed straight into the waist of a night demon who was coming towards him. Under In's terrifying brute force, it is obviously a blunt weapon, but it lacks a sharp handle. Interrupt the night demon. Terrible brute force almost split the night demon in 2. Roar! But it hasn't waited for In to be happy. The night demon, who was cut off by the middle, suddenly opened his bloody mouth. Its jaw is like an insect split into 2. Each petal is covered with razor-sharp fangs. Even more frightening is, in Yi Demon's mouth, there was another long tongue full of barbs. Came out like a spring. At the same time, In's left side rushed towards another night demon. Roar! A growl. A long tongue full of barbs also shot out of his mouth. Be careful, Li Qiuyue shouted. The palm quickly condensed a lightning spear overflowing with electric light. This trick is learned from her Chu Xiu. Quickly dodge. After a reminder, Li Qiuyue threw the lightning spear out. Stab! In an instant, thunder light illuminated the night. Lightning strikes and explodes. The violent electric energy released forms a minefield with a range of more than 10 meters. Instantly swallowed several night demons around Li Qiuyue killed the C-level mutant zombie, Night Demon. EXP plus 200. Li Qiuyue killed the C-level mutant zombie, Night Demon. EXP plus 200. Roar! Roar! 95. Too late to be happy. In the next second, another night demon rushed towards Li Qiuyue. It doesn't give a shred of breathing time at all. It's the same again. Fight like a corpse dog. Chu Xiu closed his eyes. The magnetic field energy exploded, and the surrounding metal responded in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. Abandoned cars are torn to shreds by the magnetic field. Under the control of Chu Xiu, the scattered metal fragments revolved around him and the second daughter at high speed. Like a blade in a meat grinder, as long as the night demon enters, it will be smashed into minced meat in an instant. You kill the C rank and kill the zombie night demon. EXP plus 200. You kill, relying on the protection of metal fragments. In swung her mace from top to bottom, smashed a night demon's head with one stick. Exaggerated power. Almost smashed this night demon's head into his chest. In kills C rank and kills zombies. Night demon. EXP plus 200. Roar. At this time, not far away, the deafening roar sounded again. For a moment, the night demon, who had swarmed up, immediately turned around. No more foolishly rushing into the metal vortex to die. Instead, turn around. Climb up the exterior wall of the building. Climb to the roof. Break down the concrete bricks with your bare hands, and then smash them at Chu Xiu and others below. I depend. These zombies can use weapons. At the same time, Ini, who saw this scene, felt that her worldview had collapsed. Daredevil doesn't just throw bricks. Roar. There's even a night demon. Remove the lightning rod from the roof and drop it like a spear. It's just that the lightning rod is made of metal, and Chu Xiu held it in the air halfway through the flight. You're just out of your mind. Don't see that I can control metal? 55. Chu Xiu waved his hand. The lightning rod returns the same way. Instantly penetrated the body of night demon and nailed it to the wall. Chu Xiu, aren't zombies brainless? Why do these zombies use weapons? He said at the same time, dodging the stones that fell everywhere. 4 flowers. Night demon is the exception. Chu Xiu finished. A wave of hands. The surrounding metal fragments quickly turned into steel needles. Like a hurricane, shot out. You kill the C rank and kill the zombie night demon. EXP plus 200. You kill, while controlling the steel needle to kill the daredevil on the roof. Chu Xiu, also part of the spirit, turn the remaining metal debris into slender metal wires, which are quickly distributed around the building. Soon, a net of heaven and earth will surround the surrounding buildings. Autumn moon, discharge together. Then, Chu Xiu gave an order. He and Li Qiuyue, 2 LV3 lightning controllers, released lightning at the same time. For a moment, illuminated by electric lights at night, several violent and destructive thunder columns. Crazy around, touching the metal wire arranged by Chu Xiu, the influx is instantaneous. Zizizi. With the sound of crackling electric shock, the buildings on both sides of the street were instantly covered by a power grid. Every wire conducts terrifying electricity. The wire was burnt red. 0.00. There are even signs of melting. Roar. Not far away, the deafening roar sounded again. But it's too late. The net made up of metal wires began to release thunder and lightning frantically. One after another, blue arcs jumped out of the metal wire, frantically hitting all the conductors around. Lightning strikes everywhere. As far as the eye can see, it's like entering a sea of lightning. Roar. Roar. The night demon who climbed up the roof was instantly submerged by the endless minefield. The escaping electrical energy can even cause power outages in buildings. The lights came on briefly, but only for a moment. All the bulbs shattered. You killed the C-level mutant zombie, night demon. EXP plus 200. Li Qiuyue killed the C-level mutant zombie, night demon. EXP plus 200. You kill. You kill. The beeps sounded one after another. The experience value is skyrocketing by hundreds of hundreds. Soon, Li Qiuyue's mental power was exhausted first. After a while, Chu Xiu also stopped releasing electricity, but it wasn't that his mental power was exhausted. But he sensed, apart from the 3 of them, there was no living creature around. Call. Finished? The 2 girls looked around. There was no longer a living night demon on the field. The winged demons that could be seen, without exception, they're all charred corpses of electric coke. The manic power gradually ceased, but the surrounding buildings were full of red-hot metal. On some conductive objects, from time to time, 1 or 2 residual arcs will jump out. The pungent burnt smell is coming. Burnt plastic, barbecue flavor, any weird taste. Immediately afterwards, fires began to ignite in some buildings, and lightning ignited the flammables inside. The fire is getting hotter. The originally dark night was gradually illuminated by fire, as if it were day. Sizzling heat. It feels like being in an incinerator. Is it all settled? Xiu walked to Chu Xiu's side, panting slightly. No. Run one. Chu Xiu shook his head. There is a night devil who has been hiding far away, commanding other night devils with a roar. The fight just now. It never came to the mountain at all. When fighting, that deafening roar kept ringing in the distance. Command other night devils. It was also under the command of that roar that the other night demons showed the shadow of wisdom. Otherwise, they're not much smarter than ordinary zombies. The one who ran just now should be the night demon leader. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a daredevil lair near here. Chu Xiu said solemnly. Chief, 95. And the lair? Did this group of zombies develop their own social system? 35. All the time. Xiu thinks that zombies are a group of walking corpses without brains, disorganized and undisciplined. The appearance of night demon broke her concept. It's not that exaggerated. To put it bluntly, this thing is the thinking of wolves, and the smartest is the leader. But it's also a zombie after all. That's how smart it is. Chu Xiu explained. Are we going to find its den and wipe them out? 35. Ini came over and asked. Go back first. 99. It's 500 tonight. Chu Xiu shook his head. He could see that Xiu and Ini were exhausted from the long-term high-intensity battle. And tonight's goal has been achieved. The strength of the two women has risen sharply. Chu Xiu also accumulated enough experience to upgrade the system. Not only that, but the night demon that appeared later provided Chu Xiu with a lot of experience. The experience value that was originally consumed by the upgrade system. Now it has crossed the 6,000 mark again. Current EXP, 6,345. One night demon is 200 experience. And before that, there were at least 20 night demons. Risk and reward are indeed proportional. Only going out at night. Experience points will rise so fast. Chu Xiu smiled helplessly. Tonight's harvest can be said to be fully rewarded. When the three of Chu Xiu returned to Yijiang Garden, Colossus, as usual, guarded in the security room at the gate of the community. Boss, you're back. Saw Chu Xiu back. The steel man immediately walked out of the security room, came to the gate of the community, and lifted the heavy metal door upwards. This door was built by Chu Xiu, 3 meters high, exactly the same height as the walls on both sides. Wholehearted. It weighs at least 400 or 500 pounds. Chu Xiu looked at the Steelers. Concentrating, suddenly opened the steel man's attribute panel. After system upgrade, I can finally check the loyalty of others to me. Name, Colossus. Gender, none. Loyalty, 91. Talent, metallization LV2, irreversible. As predicted, the Steelers' loyalty has long exceeded the standard of being a subordinate. Up to 91, to the point of die-hard loyalty. How did gender disappear? Years. But Chu Xiu isn't more concerned with loyalty. It's the gender of the Steelers. Either male, either female. Why is there a none popped up? Is it because of nonsense? Chu Xiu seemed to understand something, but he didn't care too much about it either. System, bind Steelers as subordinates. 99. Chu Xiu gave an order. He and the steel man immediately established a binding relationship between the superior and the subordinate. For a moment, Chu Xiu felt that as long as he had a single thought, he could kill the steel man. Boss, the Steelers don't know what's going on. It just felt that Chu Xiu suddenly became invisible. In the dark, as if there was a mighty force that made it have to surrender to Chu Xiu. Although it has long since surrendered. It's all right. 33. Steelman, if you have time in the future, go out and kill more zombies and beasts. Don't stay here all day like a security guard. Chu Xiu coughed lightly and commanded. Now that it's bound, that must be to maximize the value of the stealers. The experience value of prostitution. Naturally, Chu Xiu would not let it go. Yes, stealers don't talk nonsense either. It just instinctively felt that it had to obey Chu Xiu's orders. Enter the community. Because it was too late, Chu Xiu gave up his plan to review the old and learn the new with the second daughter. The three returned to the villa. After taking a shower, take a rest. Hey, what about Jelly? Innie took a bath before going upstairs. Habitually want to take a look at Itching Strange. But when she walked to the glass room, actually a fish tank, that Chu Xiu had prepared for Tickle, but found nothing inside. Mizuki, did you see the jelly? In-E found Chun Mei-Wei, who had been staying in the villa, and asked. It was taken by the new girl. It's the one who lives in Villa number 9. Chun Mei-Wei said truthfully. Bai Xiao, 35. In-E was shocked. In my mind, the terrible picture of the hospital morgue suddenly appeared. It's over, it's over. Shouldn't Jelly be dissected by her? In-E began to frantically make up her mind. I can't wait to rush into Bai Xiao's villa and save Jelly. But she didn't dare to go in alone. The pictures of the hospital mortuary are vivid in my mind. Does the ghost know what terrible research project Bai Xiao has made in it? Chu Xiu. After some confusion, In-E finally found Chu Xiu. Take it and take it. Anyway, this little thing is useless for a while. 35. Chu Xiu didn't take it seriously at first. Bai Xiao wants to study, then study. Who makes people a genius? Let's go and see. What if Jelly is dissected by her? I beg you, I dare not go alone. But in the end, Chu Xiu still has not experienced In-E's soft grinding and hard foaming. Cough. Physical soft grinding and hard foaming. The two went downstairs. Go to the villa next door. Enter Villa 9. Chu Xiu didn't even plan to go upstairs to look for it. So he took In-E directly to the basement. As predicted, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and the basement of Villa number 9 is still brightly lit. Bai Xiao's graceful figure still shuttled in front of the experimental tables, said to be a laboratory table. In fact, it is a billiard table that has been demolished. The surrounding equipment is also self-made by her, which looks very simple. It's Jelly. In-E found itchy monsters. It's in Bai Xiao's hands. But there's one thing that makes In-E puzzled. Bai Xiao obviously has no protection and directly touches the itchy monster with her hands. Why doesn't she laugh? Can tickles control their abilities? At this time, Bai Xiao had noticed the arrival of Chu Xiu and In-E. Beautiful face. It's still the same emotionless expression. Did you come to find it? Bai Xiao put Tickle on the table. Once put down, Tickle immediately moved with the chubby body and disproportionately small feet. It was like fleeing away from Bai Xiao. Squeak. Itchy two big eyes. Reveals a very anthropomorphic fear. It wasn't because Bai Xiao tortured it. In fact, Bai Xiao didn't hurt it at all. The reason why the itch is afraid. It's because it can't feel Bai Xiao's emotions. Not just negative emotions. No emotion whatsoever. To itch, it was like being scratched by an emotionless stone. Then 4.1 the stone is also examined with all kinds of strange instruments. Can it be scary? Jelly, you're fine. Haha, it's so itchy. In-E ran over with a worried look and picked up the itchy monster. But the moment you start, she couldn't stop laughing. Fruit, Jelly, I thought. You can control your ability. Quick, stop. 35. Seeing that, Bai Xiao was able to hold the itchy monster safely. In-E thought it could already control its own abilities. The result makes sense. Got hit. It's called Jelly. At the critical moment, Bai Xiao reached out and rescued In-E. She reached out directly. Lift the itch like a chicken. Then I smelled it. Good. It's releasing pheromones again. Done. Bai Xiao immediately threw the itchy monster into a totally enclosed crude device. Then pressed the switch next to it. accompanied by the sound of the machine running. Something seemed to be extracted along the glass tubing outside the instrument and into the beaker, after a series of purification operations with simple instruments. Eventually, it turned into a few drops of crystal-clear liquid substance. "What is this?" Chu Xiu came over and asked. "The pheromone released by this creature can effectively reduce the aggressiveness of the beast. This will be helpful for my next research." As Bai Xiao said, he kept the pheromone purified just now. "What research? Aren't you going to engage in biological weapons again?" Chu Xiu frowned. "No, I plan to use some of the beast's genes to develop a genetic medicine that can strengthen humans," Bai Xiao said. He suddenly raised his head and stared at Chu Xiu with big, clear, and bright eyes. "She hasn't spoken yet." Chu Xiu had already guessed what she was going to ask. "When can you get the experimental equipment I need for me?" "Really?" Just like Chu Xiu guessed. Bai Xiao, who has lost his emotions, doesn't even know what is euphemism and what is kindness. "Speak straight. It's her style. Tomorrow. I'll bring back the equipment you need tomorrow," Chu Xiu said solemnly. The next day, the slightly cloudy sun pierced through the clouds, shine into a large survivor base to the southwest, said to be a survivor base. In fact, it is more like a combination of a military base and an abandoned construction site. Half of the base is in standard militarized style, with rows of tents pitched from start to finish. Soldiers with guns were patrolling inside. Armored vehicles and armed helicopters can also be seen. The other half of the base. But it looks like an abandoned construction site that was hastily built and unfinished. The periphery is similar to the military base, and there's also a circle of high walls to defend against zombies. Every distance, there's also a scaffold watchtower with soldiers with guns standing guard. But inside, is like Asen's slum. All kinds of shacks made of broken plastic and wooden boards are stacked crookedly inside. Survivors are like livestock, live in a small space. There is domestic garbage everywhere, and the feces that have nowhere to be dumped are dumped on the roadside. Cloudy air, the smell of sweat and excrement was everywhere. In contrast, the military tent on the other side is as comfortable as a five-star hotel. But these tents were not soldiers. Real soldier, either defend against zombies on the periphery of the base, or go out to collect supplies or find survivors. At this time, inside the base, in a tent, a middle-aged man with a pot belly leaned on the sofa like Guyu was lying down. On the left and the right, there were two young girls who looked like students, most in their teens. These girls are ordinary survivors in the base. And a middle-aged man, it's the head of the defense department at the Southwest base, Zhao Zhongxie. As a defense supervisor, Zhao Zhongxie can control these poor survivors at will. Anyone who doesn't listen to him can find any reason, not even a reason. They can deduct their daily rations that are not much. Even drove them out of the base directly. Let fend for itself. You performed very well last night. When you get rations today, get an extra. If Lao Hu asks, you can say that I said it. Ha 35. Zhao Zhongxie laughed and pulled the girl on the left into his arms. Start up and down. His age, let alone being a girl's father, is almost the same as being a grandfather. But it was still unscrupulous when it started. Thank you, Director Zhao. The girl resisted the nausea, barely forced a smile. Zhao Zhongxie laughed. He likes to see these girls look disgusted, but helpless. At this time, a soldier broke into the tent. Director Zhao, 35. There is news from the laboratory, saying that yesterday's arrest operation failed. The soldiers came close to Zhao Zhongxie's ear and reported in a low voice. What did you say? Zhao Zhongxie's expression changed. He kicked the girl on his body to the ground. The girl was in so much pain that her tears were about to fall, but she didn't dare to resist at all, so she could only get up by herself. What is failure? 2 teams, plus a Wuji. TMD can't even catch a woman. Waste. 1 by 1. It's all trash. Zhao Zhongxie was furious. Soldiers and girls were silent. He didn't dare to touch Zhao Zhongxie's bad head at all. When is this news? Zhao Zhongxie endured his anger and asked. Yes, it came from yesterday afternoon. But you ordered yesterday that no matter what the matter is, We are not allowed to disturb you. The soldier bowed his head. Said hard. Yesterday, Zhao Zhongxie fell in love with these two female survivors at a glance, coerced and lured them, and succeeded. Zhao Zhongxie, who is full of that stuff, doesn't care about any news. He issued an order not to disturb him. It's all your fault, you two be asterisk, 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 asterisk. Bad labor thing. How could Zhao Zhongxie think it was his fault? Without saying a word, he vented his anger on the two innocent girls. Some punches and kicks. Only then did the two girls get kicked out of the tent. Get the helicopter ready. I'm going to the lab. After venting his anger, Zhao Zhongxie also calmed down. Ordered. Yes. 99. How dare the soldiers say anything? Quickly exit the tent. At the same time that Zhao Zhongxie prepared to go to the laboratory, on the road, dozens of kilometers away, someone has already rushed in front of him. Doomsday chariots drive on deserted roads. There is also a heavy truck with a load of dozens of tons that is more common on construction sites. Heavy trucks are driven by stealers. To this end, Chu Xiu specially lifted off the roof of the truck's cab. Turning it into an open-top heavy truck allowed the steel man, who is more than 2 meters tall, to sit in the cab. On the Doomsday chariot, Li Qiuyue was chatting with Chu Xiu about the purpose of the trip. Chu Xiu, you mean? The soldiers who came to arrest me were sent by this Dr. Zhao. He learned that he had sent someone to arrest his mastermind, and he was in the biological laboratory where he was going on this trip. Li Qiuyue could not help clenching her small fists. 500. Can't wait to reach the destination immediately. But don't forget, our main purpose is still experimental equipment. Don't go up and break that thing. Chu Xiu reminded. The heavy truck driven by the steel man behind was the one he found this morning specially for transporting equipment. Well, I see. I won't mess around. 35. Li Qiuyue was not an impulsive person, seeing Chu Xiu speaking. Immediately bury the idea of revenge in your heart. Let's take you out to clean up, Chu Xiu said with a smile. Unlike Ini's Tiger Girls, Li Qiuyue's character is really a good wife and mother, and she is obedient. Say what you say. No objection at all. In this operation, Chu Xiu only brought Li Qiuyue and Colossus with him. Ini was left to protect Chen Meiyue and Bai Xiao. Certainly, the point is to protect Bai Xiao. Although Bai Xiao has no fighting ability, her value is far beyond anyone in Yijiang Garden. Even Li Qiuyue, with great potential, is far less than Bai Xiao. If nothing else, the value of the gene medicine that Bai Xiao is planning to develop is immeasurable. Chu Xiu knew that Bai Xiao's research would be a success. The scariest thing in the world is doing nothing. For example, doing a business that I don't know if I can make money, chasing a girl who I don't know if I can. The unknown is scary. But when something is 100% successful and 100% rewarding, who would be stupid enough to refuse? Follow the satellite map given by Bai Xiao. Chu Xiu soon came to the area where the biological laboratory was located. Come over. Chu Xiu found that there were surprisingly few zombies nearby. Although it is remote, it is a true suburb. But it's not going to come all the way, just 2 or 3 zombies, right? Someone has specially cleaned up the zombies here. Soon, Chu Xiu found the answer. Less than a kilometer away from the biological laboratory, he saw a pile of burned corpses. Someone cleaned up the nearby zombies, and they brought their corpses to this place and burned them. I can't think of the people here. The efficiency is quite high. Chu Xiu sneered. Continue in the direction of the biological laboratory. The laboratory is located in a remote campus, and the nearest building is a foreign-funded hospital. There's also an unfinished building next to it. Generally speaking, according to different protection levels, biological laboratories are divided into 4 levels. The lowest level, level 4, is the highest. In front of Chu Xiu is a level 3 protection laboratory, so it was built in the suburbs. But at this time, the laboratory has changed a lot. Say it's a laboratory, but it is more like a military building. The fence is heightened. At intervals, there's a platform for people to stand on. At this time, several soldiers with guns on the platform had already noticed the arrival of Chu Xiu and others. But they didn't respond, didn't even lift the gun. Look, 35. A few more sappies going the wrong way. 35. Huh. Hey, you say, do they take us here as a Southwest base? Looking at the two vehicles approaching in the distance, the soldiers didn't take it seriously, and talking and laughing. It seems that what they call survivors going the wrong way happens from time to time. Okay, hurry up and inform the doctor. Another experiment has been delivered to the door. 5. Made. If only this happened every day. That's right. So we don't have to take the risk to catch the experiment. Watching the vehicle get closer, several soldiers stopped talking and returned to their positions. Doctor, a car is coming. One of the soldiers picked up the walkie-talkie and started reporting the incident. OM 35. Is it someone from the Southwest base? A middle-aged voice came from the walkie-talkie. At the same time, there was the sound of a medical electric drill and the sound of another person wailing. No, it's a personal modified car. Should be the survivors who escaped. Wait for it. Soldiers are reporting. A glance away, suddenly noticed something was wrong with the two cars approaching. The car in front was fine, and there were two young men, a man and a woman. The point is that the heavy truck with no roof in the back has a metal giant sitting in it. Awakened. Doctor. 35. Here comes the awakened. The soldiers were startled and rushed to report. The other soldiers around were also taken aback and swept away the attitude they didn't care about just now. They raised their sights and looked at the three of Chu Xiu. Parking. Come here again and we'll shoot. A soldier shouted loudly, but his voice just fell. He saw a silver light rushing towards him. What is this? Before the soldier could see what the silver object was, he felt his body suddenly lighten up. Then tilt operator. Everything in front of me started to turn around. And the last picture he saw was a corpse without a head, slowly falling from the platform. Why doesn't my body have a head? With the last trace of doubt, the soldier's head fell heavily on the cold concrete floor. Enemy attack. 35. Shoot now. The sudden attack startled several other soldiers. They pulled the trigger, but in the next second, the scene that made them despair was discovered. The fired bullet freezes in the air, then turn, fly towards them. Run. 35. It's the master of magnetism. 35. In desperate cries, blood flowers exploded on the platform of the wall. Each flower blooms precisely on the eyebrows of a soldier. Didn't you say don't act rashly? On the doomsday chariot, Li Qiu stared blankly at Chu Xiu. Yup, I told you not to act rashly without talking about myself. 95. Chu Xiu wrote lightly. Done. A kick of the throttle. The vehicle accelerated directly and crashed into the laboratory door. At the same time, in the biological laboratory, a middle-aged man wearing thick black-rimmed glasses was slowly putting down the walkie-talkie. In front of him was an operating table. On it lay a young man with a hole in his forehead. There's also a bloody medical drill next to it. The slender drill bit is still bloodshot. Let me go. My CNM. You pervert. Let me go. Although a hole was drilled in the head, the young man did not die. Still struggling on the operating table, eyes full of fear, but his limbs are firmly fixed, no matter how much he struggles. Awaken. Does anyone know I'm here? The man with glasses ignored the cry of the experimenter. What he is more worried about now is that what he has done is known. No. You must hurry up. The man with glasses shook his head. The action was a little hurried. I saw him hurriedly pick up a slender steel needle with a scoop. From the small hole drilled just now, he stabbed into the head of the experimental subject and stirred in a certain direction. A small piece of white brain tissue was then dug out. In an instant, the young people on the stage stopped struggling, just staring at the ceiling with empty eyes, like a vegetative person with no thoughts. The corners of his mouth also drooled unconsciously. Hurry up, don't let Dad down, the man with glasses said. A tube of mucus-like black liquid was dropped into the brain of the subject along the small hole. As soon as the fluid enters the brain, the experiment on the operating table is like experiencing great pain. Starts struggling like crazy. The locks holding the hands and feet almost broke. The screaming continued for a few seconds. Pause slowly. From now on, you'll be number 4. The man with glasses said. Unchain the shackles of the experiment. The experimenter sat up with a swipe, did not run away, and did not attack the man with glasses. Like a newborn Lee's baby, staring blankly around. Look at me. The glasses man gave an order. The subject immediately turned to stare at him. Look at my face. Remember, I made you. I am your father. From now on, 35. Your name is number 4. The man with glasses put his face in front of the experiment, as if forcing him to remember his appearance. SS. It's father, father. The test subject opens. Difficulty uttering a word. Quick, quick, see if your ability is still there. When the man with glasses saw this, he couldn't wait to speak. Capable. The experimenter raised his hands in a daze. In the next second, a blazing flame spewed out from his palm, like a flaming dragon. Another success. I made another one. 5. I really am a genius. I really am a genius. The man with glasses laughed, swept away the nervous appearance before. Here, Chu Xiu just slammed open the door of the laboratory and got out of the car. Another group of soldiers rushed out of the building. Shoot now, before the team of soldiers pulled the trigger. Chu Xiu waved his hand. Magnetic field energy covers the whole field. In an instant, the surrounding metal objects turned into sharp blades and shot through their bodies in an instant. What? In a scream, a team of heavily armed soldiers died in an instant. If it is more lethal, the current magnetic field control may not be as good as lightning control. But if it is more efficient than dealing with ordinary people, then the control of the magnetic field is definitely far beyond any kind of ability. Steel Man, hold the gate. Don't let anyone in or out. Chu Xiu dropped a word. With Li Qiuyue, he walked into the biological laboratory. Once he come in, an odor similar to hospital disinfectant came to me. Chu Xiu frowned. He doesn't like the smell. Come on, the lab should be underground. 55. Chu Xiu glanced at the building structure diagram on the wall and walked towards the stairs. Li Qiuyue followed closely. Quick, the enemy is here. 99. Just got to the stairs. Chu Xiu ran into 2 soldiers with guns. But this time, before Chu Xiu could make a move, Li Qiuyue raised her hand and there were 2 lightning bolts. Electric currents twist and jump in the air. It fell on the 2 of them with a bang. Just for a moment, the 2 of them were covered in coke and fell to the ground convulsively. Wait 500 to control the destructive power. Don't damage the instrument. 35. Chu Xiu didn't even look at the dead soldier. He just said lightly, there is one downside to current attacks. A little carelessness can damage the surrounding electronic equipment. Well, I see. Li Qiuyue clearly understood this and began to deliberately control the intensity of the current released. Enter the stairs. Below came a series of footsteps of heavily armed soldiers. Oh, there are quite a few people in this place. Chu Xiu sneered. Next second, a few screams could be heard from under the stairs. When Chu Xiu and Li Qiuyue walked down, they saw 3 dead soldiers lying at the entrance of the stairs. The cause of death was that a metal object on his body pierced his eyebrows. To death. They didn't even see what Chu Xiu looked like. Are you that strong already? While Li Qiuyue was amazed in her heart, she stretched her long legs and stepped over the soldier's corpse. Enter the underground laboratory. What catches the eye is a white corridor covered with tiles. Once you come in, a deep middle-aged man's voice rang out. It was you. 99. Ha! I didn't expect you to actually deliver it to the door yourself. It really takes no effort. 35. Man's laughter. It rang from the announcer at the top of the hallway. Chu Xiu looked around. Finally saw a camera not far away. You're Dr. Zhao. Chu Xiu looked at the camera with a sneer on the corner of his mouth. Asked, what you said just now was effortless. Did you mean me or the one behind me? Here, Chu Xiu's question. The camera moved a bit. The flashing red dot stopped on Chu Xiu's face. Are you the one with the magnetic ability? It's good that you came here, your magnetic ability, plus this lady's lightning ability. Just to expand my army of awakened ones, The sound on the radio was insane. The words inside and outside are full of the meaning of eating Chu Xiu. Awakened army? You think you've got me? Chu Xiu was amused by Dr. Zhao's arrogance. Finished laughing. Magnetic field energy is released. Through a wall, the scope of the probe is zoomed in 1 meter after another. Start searching for the speaker. Haha, if you don't come in, I really won't be able to take you down. But since you've come in, on the radio, Dr. Zhao's voice revealed a hint of smugness. That is the triumph of the hunter watching the prey fall into the trap. Next second, the ventilation system in the hallway suddenly shut down. The ventilator is on. Even the stair door where Chu Xiu and Li Qiuyue had just entered was automatically closed and locked. The corridor has entered a state of total closure. Immediately after, a large amount of green gas is ejected from the vents in the ceiling. Trust me, when I remove both of your brain lobes, you two will definitely be my best sons and daughters. Ha ha ha! Dr. Zhao seems to have thought of something wonderful. Laugh wildly. Ugh, next time, before you laugh, can you change the ventilator to a plastic one? Chu Xiu shook his head helplessly. Then, close your eyes. The magnetic field induction that just covered it worked. Mind a move. The poisonous gas vent on the wall immediately squeezed and deformed, blocking itself, dead by itself. The ventilation fan that was just turned off is also turned back on. No electricity is required. The fan blades can be rotated by magnetic force. Immediately afterwards, the doors of the corridor opened one by one, and the entire ventilation system was activated. The green gas that had just spewed out had not yet reached Chu Xiu. It was sucked into it by the activated exhaust fan. The air in the corridor was fresh, and even the smell of disinfectant that Chu Xiu hated was replaced. Now, I'm here to find you. Chu Xiu's voice was flat, but in the ears of Dr. Zhao on the radio, it was as terrifying as the whispers of demons. No, no, no. On the radio, Dr. Zhao's voice was a little flustered, and then he became angry. Number 2. Number 3. Kill these 2 invaders for me. 35. One command. There was a sound of heavy footsteps at the other end of the corridor. Dong, dong, dong. It was as if a rhino had rushed past. Prepare for battle, he's a big guy. Chu Xiu closed his eyes. The biomagnetic field he sensed was very strong. Preliminary judgment, at least a big guy about the size of Colossus. Dong, dong, dong. Soon, a burly figure faintly appeared from the end of the corridor. Boom! With a loud bang. The metal partition door at the end of the corridor was slammed open. A muscular man, nearly 3 meters tall, appeared in the corridor. Bare head, directly rubbing the ceiling of the corridor. The muscles on the body are packed like a rock, compared with exaggerated muscles. The head of a strong man, as small as an egg, is very inconsistent. Name, number 3, S*X male. Talent, giant LV2, irreversible, incomplete. For unknown reasons, the target talent is in a state of incompleteness, cannot be copied, and cannot be improved. The burly body of the strong man filled the corridor to the brim. The left and right sides are against the wall, let alone people, not even a dog can squeeze through. But a middle-aged woman, but abruptly squeezed in. He was only 1.6 meters tall, as thin as a bamboo pole, and his slender arms were completely skinny. There's no fat on the face either, just a layer of skin, withered like a skeleton. As if the wind blows, it will fall apart. Name, number 2. Gender, female. Talent, beastization foxman LV2, incomplete. For unknown reasons, the target talent is in a state of incompleteness, cannot be copied, and cannot be improved. Unknown reason? Incomplete? Chu Xiu noticed the duo on the property panel. There is such a special label. At the same time, the words cannot be copied are displayed. Father. Father has an order. Kill. Intruder. Intruder. In. Where? Number 2 and number 3 appeared. They did not attack Chu Xiu immediately. Instead, he stood blankly, staring at Chu Xiu and Li Qiuyue with empty eyes. It appears that an effort is being made to discern whether the 2 are the intruders that the father calls them. Hey, Chu Xiu shouted, but they didn't see any reaction, still standing still. At this time, Dr. Zhao's exasperated voice sounded again on the radio. You two idiots. What are you doing standing there? They are the invaders. Kill them now. Dr. Zhao's voice just fell. Number 2 and number 3 moved immediately. You are intruders. Kill. 39. Oh, you are intruders. Kill. Skinny number 2. He spoke slowly. Compared to the more sluggish 3, the 2 seems to have been created earlier and has a slightly higher IQ. But only a little. Roar. Kill. 35. The strong man named number 3 roared. Taking heavy steps, the burly body like a bull rushed towards Chu Xiu. I knew I would call the Steelers down. It must be interesting to watch two Tai Henin fight. Chu Xiu shook his head. Raise your hand. In an instant, the ceiling of the corridor collapsed. Bolts for fixing the exhaust pipe, steel pipe rack, all turned into sharp arrows, from top to bottom, shot at the strong man. It was like 1,000 arrows in a flash. Roar! But the results were unsatisfactory. These metals only pierced the skin of the strong man. So hard. Chu Xiu was slightly startled. Let me try. Li Qiuyue raised her hand. Thunder gathers. A lightning spear was caught in her hand. Wait a minute. Chu Xiu temporarily rejected Li Qiuyue. With a wave of his hand, 2 metal laboratory tables smashed the glass and flew from the room on the right side of the corridor. The metal table deforms in the air. It turned into 2 long strips of metal, one wrapped around the strong man's neck and the other wrapped around his ankles. Then lock it firmly. Lock it. Roar. The strong man, who was under control, roared, as if not knowing the pain. The whole body exerted force. The blue veins on the forehead burst. Blood seeped from the pores and flowed down his face. Under terrible brute force, the metal wrapped around him was broken. A top-level melee awakener. It was so ruined. Seeing that the strong man was so powerful, Chu Xiu felt a tinge of anger instead. A level 2 awakener. He was able to rely on brute force to defend himself against a LV-3 magnetic field controller. As you can imagine, how powerful is this giant talent? An awakener with such a huge potential has now become a stupid walking corpse. Follow only the simplest commands. Such a powerful talent cannot be improved. Certainly, what makes Chu Xiu heartbroken is that he has not been able to copy it. Extraordinary. The more Chu Xiu thought about it, the more angry he became. Clenched fist. The magnetic field energy explodes in an instant. All the surrounding metals turned into jagged, sharp blades, entwining the strong man. The 2 serrations were directly wrapped around the neck of the strong man. Then the saw rotates. Roar! The strong man is still struggling. But every time he moved forward, the saw a little deeper. The sharp blade quickly sawed through the flesh of the strong man. Blood spurted out. Number 2 obedient. Listen to my father. Listen to my father. Just when Chu Xiu suppressed the strong man, the other end of the corridor, skinny number 2, she bent down suddenly, and the smallest hospital gown still looked huge on her body. Bend over. The bony body is displayed without reservation. She was wearing nothing inside, but it doesn't reveal anything. It's all skin and bones. There was no fat at all, and muscle was just a thin patch against the bone. Listen, number 2, kill the intruder. Number 2 seems to be talking to himself. Advise yourself to be obedient. Finally, number 2 persuaded himself. Raise your head sharply. In the shriveled eye sockets, a pair of beast-like eyes suddenly lit up. Kill, roar. Suddenly, the woman let out a roar like a beast. The shriveled body grew rapidly like a blown balloon. Back up. The tailbone extends outward, gradually forming a tail. The woman's face also starts to elongate outward. Fangs grow in the mouth. Red hair grows all over. The originally withered body grew rapidly in just a few seconds, and the hospital gown was punctured with a slap. Roar. 35. When number 2 slowly stood up straight, it has become a half-beast monster with a fox face and a height of 2 meters. Kill the intruder. Number 2 locked Chu Xiu. The figure turned into a red phantom and rushed over. In the case of strong men blocking the way, number 2 jumped straight up. Her sharp claws can easily penetrate the wall, allowing her to run on the wall. Chu Xiu, be careful. Li Qiu saw this. No longer hesitate. He directly threw the lightning spear in his hand. The violent thunder and lightning broke the air, and every now and then there were one or two tiny arcs moving around. Boom! 4 flowers. Just heard a loud bang. The thunder spear collided with number 2, who was transformed into a foxman in the air. A blast of white light. The furious thunder burst out. The glass in the laboratory shattered, and a deep pit with a diameter of 0.5 meter appeared in the corridor. There's a dazzling minefield all around. Countless arcs are beating in it. Roar. 35. Number 2 fell next to the pit. Body twitches. The fur all over his body was burnt to charcoal. The escaping lightning energy, even along the metal manipulated by Chu Xiu, spread to the strong man. Roar. The strong man twitched from the electric shock. He waved his hands unconsciously, hammering the walls on both sides of the corridor with cracks. The escaping power even spilled over to the laboratory's power supply. Just heard a bang. 0.00. The light bulbs in the hallway went out one by one. Alas, 99. If I knew earlier, I would have you stay outside and let the Steelers come down. Seeing this scene, Chu Xiu sighed helplessly. What? Yes, I'm sorry, Chu Xiu, I'm worried. Li Qiu realized that she did not control her strength. Could not help but panic. Concern is chaos. She was also worried that Chu Xiu would be besieged before she chose to take action. Did you forget that I can teleport? Chu Xiu patted Li Qiu's little head. Not angry. On the one hand, Chu Xiu knew that Li Qiu didn't do it on purpose. On the other hand, he just used the magnetic field to sense it, and the equipment is all intact. It was not damaged by Li Qiu's current attack. In fact, everything is Chu Xiu overthinking. Although some of these research equipment are relatively delicate, they're not paper paste. Not so easy to break. In this case, then I can let go. Chu Xiu didn't go all out just now, but now he has nothing to worry about. Okay, Qiu. Chu Xiu, who realizes that the equipment will not be damaged, decided to give Li Qiu a hand. Say it. Take a coin out of your pocket, hold it with your thumb, and gesture to toss. The invisible magnetic field energy forms 2 guide rails that are invisible to the naked eye. One after another dark blue arc, twitching at your fingertips, connected to invisible rails from time to time. I'll tell you today, what is the electric light that jumps at your fingertips? It is my faith that will never die in this life. Sean. Ultra Railgun. Chu Xiu's thumb pops the coin. In an instant, the coin seemed to have entered some invisible acceleration track. Boom! In an instant, the coin disappeared. The naked eye can't see how it disappears at all. Only hear the deafening sonic boom, caused by an object going supersonic. Immediately after, it was a strong man named Number 3. Skull exploded. The head of the strong man is like a watermelon hit by a bullet. It exploded in an instant, and the red and white things were mixed with the slag of the bones and splashed out to the rear. Resistant to spike attacks. Even strong men who can resist jagged cuts. In front of small coin, he was killed by a headshot without any resistance. Bang tilde operator. The strong man collapsed. No matter how strong the body is, without the brain, it is just a pile of meaningless bodies. You kill the LV2 awakened. EXP plus 500. Although I'm blinded by such a good day, 50 fu. But at least there is experience. Here's system beep. Chu Xiu finally felt better. One move instantly killed the strong man, and Chu Xiu turned his gaze to Number 2, who had fallen beside the deep pit blown out by the lightning spear. Roar! Number 2, who turned into a fox, took a lightning spear from Li Qiu. Actually not dead. Still breathing heavily, he fell to the ground dying. Kill. Intruder. Even though he was dying, Number 2 still did not regain his senses. Still speaking those vague words. Chu Xiu shook his head. A hand move. A metallized spear instantly penetrated Number 2's brain. You kill the LV2 awakened. EXP plus 500. Current experience. 7721. Some people say that the data is wrong. Explain it here. Every time you go out, there are zombies and beasts, the extra experience is obtained by killing them. In order not to water the plot, the scene of the road was taken away in one stroke. Finish number 2 and 3. Chu Xiu continued to advance deep into the corridor, and he had roughly determined the location of the so-called Dr. Zhao. Have to say, this stuff is real. I don't know if he is aiming for magnetic field induction or what. The cargo actually hid in a medical shelter wrapped in lead. Chu Xiu induced the magnetic field 2 or 3 times. Just discovered the difference. Let's go, it's time to meet this so-called Dr. Zhao, Chu Xiu said, and took Li Qiuyue to the medical cabin. Go through the hallway. Stepping through the isolation door that was just hit by number 3, a laboratory of more than 200 square meters is reflected in the eyes of Chu Xiu and Li Qiuyue. And that medical cabin, right in the corner of the lab. No, no, no. You don't come here. Seeing Chu Xiu, Dr. Zhao, who was hiding in the medical cabin, panicked. He quickly closed the door of the medical cabin, as if this thin layer of glass door could bring him safety. Number 4. Kill them now. Quick. There was also a young man with a dull expression in the cabin. Dr. Zhao is constantly urging and giving orders to attack Chu Xiu, but young people remain indifferent. The expression is sluggish. Name. Number 4. SSSS-level, male. Talent. Flame Control LV2, incomplete. For unknown reasons, the target talent is in a state of incompleteness, cannot be copied, and cannot be improved. Special. Another top talent was ruined by you. 99. Chu Xiu glanced at the young man's attribute panel. Immediately burst into flames. A wave of hands. The multi-ton medical shelter was directly attracted by the magnetic force and moved slowly. No, no, no. Number 4. Kill them. 9. 4th. Watching the medical cabin get closer and closer to Chu Xiu, Dr. Zhao panicked even more. A middle-aged man in his 30s, shouting like a teenage girl. Controlled by a waste like you. These people could be considered blood mold for 8 lifetimes. Chu Xiu said contemptuously, who knew this sentence would deeply stimulate Dr. Zhao. I'm not trash. I'm not trash. I am a genius. I am a real genius. 35. Dr. Zhao seemed to be greatly stimulated. Emotions suddenly became excited. You're a barren genius. TMD doesn't even have a PhD. Did you come in through the back door? 39. Chu Xiu suddenly heard what Bai Xiao had said. The so-called Dr. Zhao, Zhao Liwei. There is no doctorate at all. No, no, no. Chu Xiu's words accurately stepped on Zhao Liwei's minefield. He, who was already insane, collapsed in an instant, and the whole person became mad. I didn't come in through the back door. I didn't. I'm a doctor. I am a genius. Zhao Liwei slapped the glass door of the experimental cabin and roared hysterically. Totally a crazy psychopath. Number 4. Quick. Use your abilities. Kill him for me. The crazy Zhao Liwei. As if forgetting that he is in a closed cabin. He actually ordered number 4 to use his abilities. Capable. And this time, number 4 finally understood Zhao Liwei's order. Dumbly raised his hand. Boom! A fiery flame burst out from its palm. Instantly filled the entire cabin. 35. No. 39. Stop. 4. Only then did Zhao Liwei react. But it was too late. The terrifying flames engulfed him in an instant. In the raging flames, Zhao Liwei's skin instantly coked, twisted, caught fire, burned. The wailing stopped abruptly. Only a scorched corpse remains, continuing to suffer the scorching flames. Grease came out from the surface of the corpse. This increases the rate of burning. Disgusting picture. Is beyond the acceptable range of normal people. A pungent charred barbecue smell slowly diffused along the gap in the cabin. Vomit. Li Qiuyue, who saw the scene up close. The little face turned white. I couldn't help but run to the side and retched. Chu Xiu was also a little confused by this sudden scene. Just sucked the square cabin. Haven't had time to start yet. This guy actually killed himself? And dead. Still so miserable. Go to 4.1. You're the most empathetic enemy I've ever met. Chu Xiu shook his head helplessly. Then, wave your hand. The glass door of the medical cabin was opened by the magnetic field. Boom! The flames that filled the cabin erupted. The scorching heat caused Chu Xiu's clothes to rattle. Ability. Zhao Liwei in the cabin has been burned to dry coke. But number 4 was unscathed, still untiringly releasing blazing flames. Go down and rest. Chu Xiu said so. A scalpel flew in the air, cutting through the air in an instant. You kill the LV2 awakened. EXP plus 500, accompanied by a beep. Number 4 collapsed. The flames without the source quickly extinguished. Only the scorching heat that has not yet dissipated around it proves what happened just now. Tell the Steelers to come down and carry the equipment. I'll go ahead and take a look. Finish number 4. There is no threat to the entire biological laboratory. Chu Xiu handed over the work of carrying the equipment to the Steelman and let Li Qiu supervise. He himself continued to walk inside the laboratory. There, Chu Xiu senses the biomagnetic field of living people. Walk through the laboratory walkway. Another heavy isolation door appeared in front of him. Chu Xiu took a look. The metal isolation door will automatically open upwards. As soon as the door opens, a strange smell came from the pavement. Mixed smells like spoiled food, blood, human waste, etc. At this time, it would be nice if there was an ability that could isolate smells. Chu Xiu frowned, but he still stepped into the room decisively. Because Li Qiu's lightning attack just now destroyed the laboratory's power supply system. The room was pitch black. Only through a dim light, I could see that there were iron cages that resembled prison cages. Someone could still be heard sobbing inside. Z's. Chu Xiu spread out his hands, and the electric energy gathered in his palms, relying on electric light to illuminate the surroundings. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. 35. The moment the light appeared, panicked begging for mercy came from the cage. There are male and female voices. Totally post-traumatic stress response. Seeing Chu Xiu holding lightning, the first reaction of these people was to beg for mercy. One side retracted into the cage. Don't be nervous. I won't hurt you. Chu Xiu took a step back. Then scanned these people one by one. Most are ordinary people. There are also a few awakeners, but their abilities are rather awkward, like acidic vomit. As the name suggests, his vomit is accompanied by strong acid, which can corrode objects. There was also a woman covered in spikes, like a humanoid hedgehog. Her ability is Bone Spur, but the spikes won't help in combat unless someone pounces on her. The others are even worse, even more rubbish than the underwater breathing that Chu Xiu encountered before. Anyone with good ability should be forced to become a fool by that. 5. Chu Xiu couldn't help cursing. He knew that the awakeners with slightly stronger abilities must have been transformed by Zhao Liwei. Therefore, there are only these weak awakeners here. In fact, Zhao Liwei's transformation is not a high-tech thing. Chu Xiu still remembers that this guy once said on the radio, "I want to remove your brain lobes." This sentence has already explained Zhao Liwei's transformation, which is actually a lobectomy. This stuff has been around since the beginning of the last century. Some inhuman psychiatric hospitals in the West used this operation to treat mental patients. People who have their lobes removed lose some of their ability to think, become extremely docile. But what is the difference between an awakened person who has lost his mind and abolished? Ability can never be improved, nor will it be developed. Can only rely on the creature's instinct to use the ability. Anyone who can come up with such a stupid trick, can you also call it a genius? Chu Xiu couldn't help shaking his head. Mind a move. The iron cages in the room were opened one after another. You go. Chu Xiu finished. None of these people who were locked in the iron cage dared to move and still huddled in the corner in fear. Chu Xiu knew they were still afraid. So said, "Then what Dr. Zhao has been slaughtered by me? To be exact, he killed himself. Anyway, you are safe." Chu Xiu finished. Believe it or not, these people turn around and leave. Just as Chu Xiu turned around. In an iron cage in the far corner of the room, a dirty little boy caught his attention. The little boy was about 13 or 14 years old. Very thin, covered with mud. It was as if he had rolled around in a quagmire. Dirty and smelly. The short hair of different lengths was cut like a dog's gnaw, and it was sticky and sticky with mud. Put in the crowd like a little beggar. Hard to get noticed. But Chu Xiu noticed that on the boy's dirty face, there were actually a pair of bright big eyes. Bright eyes. Chu Xiu stopped and turned to look at the boy. Pay attention. The boy's attributes emerge. Name, Annie. Gender, female. Talent, animal affinity LV1. Note, surname Annie, surname, and 79 surnames from the Song dynasty. Gender, female. Chu Xiu was slightly taken aback. If it wasn't for the system, I would have been fooled by this tomboy. A messy short hair, with a dirty look, how to look like a little boy. Wait, this talent. Then Chu Xiu noticed the talent of the tomboy in front of him. Animal friendly? What does this ability do? The beast? For a while, Chu Xiu was a little unsure of the girl's talent. At first glance, it seems like a useless rubbish talent. But I still feel that it's not that simple. At least, this talent has no side effects. You, come out. Chu Xiu thought about it and decided to take the girl away. Find out that you were being pointed out. The girl's pupils suddenly widened. Just wanted to hide behind the others, but the other survivors in the cage had already dispersed to both sides. Expose the girl alone. I'll ABA, realizing that there was nowhere to hide, and had no choice but to pretend to be dumb. Because as soon as you speak, it was revealed that she was a girl. Stop pretending. 99. I know you're a girl. 35. Chu Xiu saw through the poor disguise of the little girl at a glance. In an instant, several male survivors in the iron cage all looked at Annie. At this time, Anne's disguise worked. They only glanced at it and then looked away. So dirty and smelly, like a little beggar. Come out and come with me later. Chu Xiu didn't care whether the girl was dirty or not. He stretched out his hand and said again, 6,699. This time, the girl did not refuse. Obediently got out of the cage. But instead of holding Chu Xiu's hand, she lowered her head and stood timidly behind Chu Xiu. Always maintain a 517 distance of more than 1 meter. Let's go. Seeing this, Chu Xiu didn't say much. Turn away. The other side. At about the same time that Chu Xiu found the girl Annie. A transport helicopter is flying in the direction of the biological laboratory. People on the plane. It was Zhao Zhongxie, the head of the Defense Department of the Southwest Base. Even on a plane, the old man did not forget to have fun. There was still a middle-aged woman beside her. This old man would drag women over from time to time, and he couldn't help but pinch him. Director, here we are. The pilot reminded. The helicopter begins to descend. In order to avoid being attacked by flying beasts on the way, whether it is a helicopter or something, it will use high-altitude flight to reduce the chance of being attacked. Only when approaching the destination does it begin to lower the altitude. Hey, is that Iron Man-like thing below the newly found Awakener? 5. As the helicopter lowers the altitude, Zhao Zhongxie noticed the steel man who was carrying equipment outside the laboratory. Sir, I don't know either, maybe? Zhao Zhongxie's confidant looked down. He had not seen the stealers either. Aha! As expected of my son. Tiger father has no dog son. Calmly brought another awakened person. Such a big Iron Man. Is it better than that girl who controls thunder and lightning? Zhao Zhongxie was in a good mood. The annoyance of hearing about the failure of the arrest mission. Soon, the helicopter landed in the open space in front of the biological laboratory, right next to the Doomsday Chariot. Just stopped. Zhao Zhongxie opened the cabin door and walked out, and the middle-aged woman followed behind without saying a word. It's the same as the number 2, number 3, and number 4 that Chu Xiu encountered before. Middle-aged woman's eyes. Also empty. He only knew that he would follow Zhao Zhongxie every step of the way. Hey, what's your number? 35. When Zhao Zhongxie got off the plane, he shouted at the steel man who was carrying the equipment. The stealer stopped. His eyes looked strangely at the old man who got off the helicopter. It's a little indecisive. I don't know if I should attack the old man in front of me. Forget it. Move things. In the end, the stealers chose to ignore it, because Chu Xiu gave him a new order to move things, not fight. Another idiot. Seeing the steel man not answering himself, still stupidly moving things there. On the contrary, Zhao Zhongxie is more certain that this Iron Man is his son's new work. These guys are all good. It's just kind of stupid, Zhao Zhongxie said, looking back at the middle-aged woman behind him. It doesn't look good. Turn around and squeeze a few more times. 6,699. The woman is like a stake, standing motionless. No matter how much effort Zhao Zhongxie uses, nothing happens. Bah! After all, Zhao Zhongxie's age is here. It stopped after a few squeezes. He spat a mouthful of old phlegm on the ground and walked toward the laboratory building in front. 1. Follow me. 35. Hear what Zhao Zhongxie said. The middle-aged woman immediately followed without hesitation. If Zhao Zhongxie has been staying at the door of the laboratory, the Steelers probably won't bother him yet. But when he wanted to enter the laboratory, he triggered the order of no one allowed in and out issued by Chu Xiu. The Steelers said nothing. Put down your device. Resolutely launch an attack. Dong dong dong. The steel man took heavy steps and charged towards Zhao Zhongxie. What are you doing? 99. Zhao Zhongxie was taken aback. Yelp. Don't even know me. Brute. Didn't always show you my picture. 5. No matter how Zhao Zhongxie scolds, the Steelers didn't stop. Finally, Zhao Zhongxie realized that something was wrong. It seemed that this Iron Man has an independent mind. Look around again. Zhao Zhongxie suddenly discovered that there were corpses lying under the walls of the laboratory. It was the soldier he sent to assist Zhao Liwei. Quick, one, stop him for me. Only then did Zhao Zhongxie realize that something was wrong. Hastily ordered. Yes. The middle-aged woman finished speaking. The muscles on the body are bulging at a speed visible to the naked eye. The nails of 10 fingers quickly became longer and curved like 10 steel knives. Kill. Then, the woman roared. It flew directly into the face of the steel man. Get down. 35. The steel man was about to reach out and grab the woman. She turned over and climbed onto the steel man's back. Sharp nails like 10 steel knives frantically scratched at the steel man's back. Every scratch, there will be a sharp screeching sound. At the same time, Mars is splashing. I don't know. I thought that women's nails are also metal. Get me down. The steel man roared. He kept reaching behind his back to grab, but his burly muscles limited the range of motion of his arms. No matter how you catch it, always a little bit. Fortunately, the woman's attack could not cause effective damage to the Steelers. Only scratches were left on its metal skin. The two were holding each other's elbows for a while. How many of you? What are you still doing? Go in and see if Wei is okay. 35. Zhao Zhongxie, who escaped the catastrophe, remembered that his son was still in the laboratory. He dare not go in by himself, so he gave orders to several soldiers who were with him. Yes, yes, yes. 3 soldiers plus a confidant of Zhao Zhongxie. The 4 did not dare to refute. He could only grab the gun and head towards the laboratory building. Go in. Die. The Steelers found out that the men were going into the building. Just ignore the woman scratching her back. She can't do any harm anyway. Roar directly. Hit the soldier. Quick, quick, shoot him. 55. Zhao Zhongxie's confidant turned pale with fright. With the 3 soldiers next to him, pull the trigger together. Bang, bang, bang. Gunshot sounded, but the bullet was deflected the moment it hit the steel man. The clanging sound tilled operator. It's like hammering iron. Bang. Instead, the woman behind the steel man was hit by a ricochet. Fell off the steel man. Die. The Steelers took this opportunity. Turn around and stomp. When it comes to women, the Steelers are not soft at all. The steel man raised his right foot high. Relentlessly, trample on a woman's abdominal cavity. Puff. With the sound of flesh and blood bursting. The woman's abdominal cavity collapsed directly. Steelers this kick. Almost stepped through her abdominal cavity. The stomach and intestines inside were all crushed by brute force, and it overflowed from the steel man's feet. Wow! The woman spat out a mouthful of black blood. The blood was mixed with finely shredded internal organs. I said, why it's so noisy outside, just as the Steelers lifted their feet again. When preparing for the ultimate woman's life, Chu Xiu's voice suddenly came from the laboratory building. Turned out to be, it killed the little one, and came the old one. Chu Xiu sneered. Came out of the laboratory building, followed by Li Qiuyue, and the little Annie who just found a woman disguised as a man. Where's away? What did you do to my son? I saw 3 strange people coming out of the laboratory building. Zhao Zhongxie seemed to understand something. Immediately excited. Away. Awei is already dead. You picked it, Chu Xiu said with a sneer. Before starting, he wanted to give Zhao Zhongxie some time to let him experience the pain of losing his son. No. Impossible. My son is so smart. You can't kill me. 35. Zhao Zhongxie was very excited. You're right about that. I really didn't kill your smart son, Li Zhao's son. Before I could do it, he set himself on fire by playing with fire. Chu Xiu said as he moved out. Shot. Kill him for me. Zhao Zhongxie's eyes were red, and his fat belly was shaking with anger. Next second, it wasn't gunshots that sounded. It was the sound of several soldiers falling to the ground one after another. Zhao Zhongxie turned his head. However, he saw that his confidant and the 3 soldiers were all penetrated by something. Fell to the ground. Can't die anymore. Do not. One. Zhao Zhongxie finally felt scared. He turned his last hope to the only awakened one. But the scene in front of me, feather. But it turned hope into despair in an instant. Die. The Steelers raised their right foot again. He stepped on the head of number 1 who fell to the ground. The ground trembled slightly. Boom. Steelers this kick. Completely smashed Zhao Zhongxie's last hope. Son is dead. The dream of the awakened army is also shattered. No. Things are not supposed to be like this. 35. Zhao Zhongxie stepped back unconsciously as he spoke. The spirit is on the verge of collapse. Awei said, as long as we control enough awakens, our father and son will be able to dominate the doomsday. 35. What do we want? Sleep with which woman you want to sleep with. Zhao Zhongxie's spirit has completely collapsed, and he has been immersed in his own fantasy world, until he tripped over a stone. Fell, only to be pulled back to the cruel real world. After the dream is broken, it's an endless nightmare. In Zhao Zhongxie's eyes, Chu Xiu, who is slowly walking towards him, has become an indescribable weirdness. It's a nightmare. There was a sarcastic smile on the corner of Chu Xiu's mouth, like the devil smile. Don't come. Zhao Zhongxie shuddered. The pupils dilated and the eyeballs protruded, as if they were about to be squeezed out of their sockets in the next second. Fear had invaded every inch of his brain. Obviously, it is broad daylight, but as Chu Xiu walked step by step, it seemed as if the boundless darkness drowned. 517 Zhao Zhongxie felt that his breathing became difficult. His eyes could no longer see anything. Only Chu Xiu came slowly, and Chu Xiu, still the same pace. Take it easy. Do not. In the end, in a mournful cry of despair, Zhao Zhongxie was scared to death. Grim-faced, distorted facial features. It was as if he had experienced boundless torture before dying, and he would not be relieved until he died. Clam, scared to death. 5. Chu Xiu was a little confused. He walked to Zhao Zhongxie and kicked. Only then did I confirm that this old man was really scared to death by himself. Is it so painful to be scared to death? Chu Xiu glanced at Zhao Zhongxie's expression before he died. He quickly looked away. Even the well-informed Chu Xiu felt a little uncomfortable seeing this tragic situation. Note, it's really scary. Don't be curious to search. No one should be here this time. Keep moving. After scaring Zhao Zhongxie to death, Chu Xiu let others continue to move equipment. He himself walked towards the helicopter that Zhao Zhongxie was in when he came. 66-99. Looking at Chu Xiu walking towards him. The pilot of the helicopter was too frightened to breathe, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. It's not that he doesn't want to run. The question, Deb, is that the helicopter seems to be malfunctioning. No matter how he controlled it, the helicopter didn't respond at all. The plane is good. Chu Xiu walked to the helicopter, knocked on the cabin door next to the pilot. Guru. The pilot didn't know how to answer. He only felt his throat dry now and swallowed hard. What model is this? Straight 9. Seeing that the pilot didn't answer, Chu Xiu went around the fuselage to check. Admittedly, this should be a straight 9. A light utility helicopter with a maximum takeoff weight of 4 tons. Well, yes, it's straight 9. The pilot recovered from his fear and answered quickly. Can you use it for me? Chu Xiu seems to be asking, but with a hint of refusal. Good, good, no problem. How dare the pilots object? Quickly took off the earphones and got ready. What are you doing? Chu Xiu stopped him. My lord, didn't you say that you want to borrow a plane? The pilot was taken aback. I thought Chu Xiu was going to kill people. The plane was originally mine. When I said borrowing, I meant borrowing from you. Help me deliver the goods. 99. Well done. I may be able to spare your life. Chu Xiu said lightly. Hear this. The pilot breathed a sigh of relief. No problem. It doesn't matter how many times you send it. Your lord, just tell me. The pilot is also a smart guy. Done. He did not re-enter the plane. Instead, he was very discerning and ran to move equipment with the Steelers, with the efforts of several people. Soon, the laboratory was moved cleanly. Doomsday and a big truck driven by Steelers. It's all stuffed up. Fortunately, Zhao Zhongxie kindly sent a transport plane over, otherwise he would not be able to take it with him. I'll follow the convoy later. Don't fly too high, or I will knock you down. Before leaving, Chu Xiu warned the pilot. Don't worry, my lord. I promise to fly low and never rise. Pilot at this time have seen the terrifying power of Chu Xiu, knowing that he has no chance to escape at all. Even if he rises, he will be dragged down by that invisible force. As long as you know. Let's go. Chu Xiu finished. Climb aboard the Doomsday chariot. Li Qiuyue sat in the co-pilot right behind. Dirty Annie, who did not dare to get too close to Chu Xiu and Li Qiu, sat silently in the last row. If the carriage is not full, it is estimated that she wants to hide in the carriage of the cargo. I heard Chu Xiu say, "Your name is Annie?" What a nice name. How old are you? 13. In the car, Li Qiuyue tried to dispel Annie's guard. But try anyway. All failed. No matter what you ask or talk about, Annie's reply is always 1 or 2 words, or it's In the end, Li Qiuyue, who was extremely patient, was helpless. Chu Xiu, I feel that this little sister is a little difficult to get along with. Li Qiuyue leaned into Chu Xiu's ear and said helplessly, Take it easy. The little girl is timid and a little stubborn. 99. Chu Xiu didn't lower his voice and spoke directly in his normal voice. Go. 35. Little Annie obviously heard Chu Xiu's words. There was finally an expression on his face. Asterisk. I think it's right for a little girl to be cautious. Li Qiuyue expressed a different opinion for the first time. A teenage girl. Be cautious in the last days. How did it become a goo? I'm not go. I'm protecting myself. I heard Li Qiuyue speak for herself. Annie, who has always been taciturn, couldn't help but defend herself. Isn't that just opening? 35. Chu Xiu shrugged. A look of anticipation. Little Annie was dumbfounded. Co-authoring. Am I being ripped off? Are adults' hearts so dirty? Really? I'm still not careful enough. Having said that, once you have opened your mouth, it is difficult to think about it without saying a word. Annie, Chu Xiu said that you are also an awakener. So what is your talent? I'm not sure as well. There are people who don't know their talent. I only know one time I was surrounded by 2 zombies, and it was a fierce-looking dog who rescued me. Is it the red dog? 39. My God, isn't that a beast? Finally, Annie, who was opened by Chu Xiu. I started chatting with Li Qiuyue on a casual basis. The two gradually chatted about abilities, animals and animal affinity. Does it mean beasts? Chu Xiu was listening. Finally got a little understanding of Annie's talent. I just don't know if this animal is friendly and can control the beast in reverse. If you can, it's really a magic trick. Chu Xiu was thinking. Suddenly, a convoy was approaching in front of him. To be exact, it's 2 armored vehicles. Squeak, with the sound of tires braking. The 2 armored vehicles began to slow down, and Chu Xiu also stepped on the brakes of the Doomsday chariot. It seems to be someone from the Southwest base. Li Qiuyue recognized the armored vehicle. Lightning flashed in his eyes, clearly ready for battle. Don't be nervous, it's an old friend here. 95. Chu Xiu smiled, opened the door, and jumped out of the chariot. Opposite, the people in the armored car also got off. It was Zhang Haoping and his team. However, they did not recognize the Doomsday Chariot, and a few soldiers were standing by, ready for battle. It's you, until Chu Xiu and Li Qiuyue got off the chariot. Zhang Haoping recognized it. Put down the gun, not the enemy. 99. He quickly asked his men to put down their guns, so as not to fire the gun. If you're here to rescue Zhao Zhongxia, then you may be late. 9. But if you are here to collect his body, it may be too late to go now. 5. Chu Xiu said half-jokingly, these people are soldiers of the Southwest base after all. Soldier, a group of people obeying orders. Chu Xiu can't guarantee that the orders of these people will conflict with him. Neither. This time it was my own act. Zhang Haoping shook his head and explained. I suspect Zhao Zhongxia has something to do with the disappearance of some survivors at the base. So I saw him leave the base in a helicopter. Just bring someone up. Zhang Haoping said this. He couldn't help but despise Zhao Zhongxiang in his heart. The Southwest base is only more than 20 kilometers away from here. This old man doesn't even dare to sit in a car. Don't waste a plane's resources. But since Zhao Zhongxia has already been killed by you, there is no need for us to continue our investigation. 5. Obviously, Zhang Haoping has no intention of going against Chu Xiu. Done. He waved his hand to the next hand. Several soldiers immediately understood, boarded the armored vehicle, and prepared to return the same way. Zhang Haoping didn't get on the bus immediately. Instead, he walked towards Chu Xiu. Stop, I'm not joining. Zhang Haoping has not spoken yet. Chu Xiu interrupted him. 6,699. Zhang Haoping was a little speechless. Looking at Li Qiuyue next to Chu Xiu, she immediately understood why her last invitation also failed. Are you two together? Zhang Haoping just wanted to address him, but he found that he didn't even know Chu Xiu's name. Chu Xiu. 99. Chu Xiu introduced himself. Mr. Chu, I'm not inviting you for anything else. Zhang Haoping is not ready to give up. As a low-ranking officer, Zhang Haoping made a humble invitation over and over again. Obviously not for himself, but for the tens of thousands of ordinary survivors in the Southwest base. Mr. Chu, there is something I think you may not know yet. At present, a million-scale super corpse tide has formed in H City. 35. And the corpse tide is moving out of town. I invite you, not for anything else, but for the Southwest base, tens of thousands of survivors. Zhang Haoping is a typical soldier before the apocalypse, and he always takes the protection of ordinary people as his duty in his heart. This is why he is not afraid of danger. A reason to stick to going out every day to find supplies and survivors. Mr. Chu, please think about it for the sake of these survivors. Zhang Haoping finished speaking. Head down. The stance is already very, very low. But Chu Xiu still shook his head. Sorry, I have kept it once in my last life. This is what Chu Xiu said in his heart. But it is obviously impossible for him to reveal the identity of his rebirth. I already knew the news of the corpse tide. Let's put it this way. You hurry up and transfer the survivors now. It's more useful than you invite me here. Chu Xiu said solemnly. A million-scale corpse tide, let alone an LV-3 magnetic field controller. Just another 10. Couldn't resist either. 66.99. All right, I got it. Zhang Haoping finally gave up. Sighed, helplessly returned to the armored vehicle, turned around and left. Went through this insert. Back to the doomsday vehicle on the road. The atmosphere became solemn. Li Qiuyue didn't chat with Annie anymore. She was still thinking about the information about the corpse tide just now. Chu Xiu, do we really care about the corpse tide? What Li Qiuyue asked was, are we going to abandon Yijiang Garden and run to other places when the corpse tide comes? It's impossible to ignore it at all. In the face of Li Qiuyue's inquiry, Chu Xiu told the truth. He still doesn't want to give up Yijiang Garden. It is safe and comfortable, and the power supply problem has just been solved. Now I brought back a large number of experimental equipment. Paid so much. You can't just run away, can you? Then why didn't we just promise them to join forces to resist the corpse tide? Li Xiu was a little puzzled. Facing the corpse tide. Seeking flowers. Isn't it more effective to unite? Defend? 39. Chu Xiu smiled and asked back. Xiu, how many people have you met the most at one time? It should be the day of the school's opening ceremony. There are almost thousands of people, right? 5. You can't see the head at a glance. Li Xiu thought about it and said, very good. 35. What if we doubled the number of students on opening day by 200 times? Can you imagine the scale of that? Chu Xiu continued to ask. Li Xiu was silent, because she couldn't imagine what kind of picture it was. A million-scale corpse tide. Aside from ordinary zombies, there are countless mutant zombies, 9. Some of them are even stronger than you and me now. Such a corpse tide. How will you defend against it? 55. Facing the sole question thrown by Chu Xiu, Li Xiu was speechless. Staying with Chu Xiu all the time, I can't feel the cruelty of the doomsday. Now, this set of data, but the bloody truth is exposed in front of him. It turns out we're just bigger ants. Against the backdrop of doomsday, not to mention LV3 awakeners, but even stronger awakeners. It's just a slightly bigger ant. In the early days of the apocalypse, live a little more comfortably than ordinary people, and in the later days of the apocalypse, live a little longer than ordinary people. That's all. Stronger. Can only survive. You can't change your fate. So we just have to run, right? For the first time, Li Xiu felt the despair brought by the end. That's ants. Despair in the face of rolling wheels. Not quite. 35. Chu Xiu shook his head. There was a hint of madness in the eyes that had always been calm. About this corpse tide, I have a not-so-sophisticated idea. Halfway through, Chu Xiu stopped suddenly. What idea? Li Xiu's eyes lit up. That's right. No matter how cruel, as long as Chu Xiu is there will always be a way. Chu Xiu is the best. Li Xiu thought so. Let's wait for the corpse tide to come. Facing Li Xiu's inquiry, Chu Xiu did not continue. Because his ideas are so crazy. Crazy enough? Only people who are equally crazy are likely to accept the proposal. And this same crazy man, Chu Xiu, has been found. Bai Shao Mountain.